All right, so welcome to the second episode of Max Speed Podcast. I'm here with my friend Jensen.
How's it going, Max?
So, did you play any video games today?
I did play some video games today. I played Rainbow Six Siege. My buddy, we were in the Army together. We play it online all the time because he lives across the country, so it's how I stay in touch with my friends.
Right on.
Just my one friend, I guess.
So, like, what do you do in that game?
Oh my god. Okay, it's an only online game. It's 5-on-5, so you 5 people on your team, 5 people on the other team, and one team has to defend an objective. The other team has to, take out the objective, whether it's defusing a bomb or rescuing a hostage. There's a couple game modes, so it basically ends up with you killing their team. That's how you win 95% of the time.
Like, is the map like huge, or is it?
There's a couple of maps. I see a bunch of maps, more like 20, 25 maps.
Oh, dang.
So some of them are big, some are small. Like one of them is like a plane, so it's pretty small. Some are like
a plane, like you're in a plane.
Yeah, it's like Air Force One, essentially.
Oh, okay.
So so it's not super small, like in like a super small plane, but and then some are like big compounds. So it just depends on the map.
Oh, okay. So like, is it kind of like Halo, where it's like capture the flag, or like
So there's 3 game modes.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
One of them is to secure an area, so you just have to get your player into the room that the thing is in for like a certain amount of time. It's like 20 seconds or 15 seconds or something. Another one is to defuse a bomb. You have like a little diffuser. You have to plant it. And it has to defuse a bomb for a certain amount of time. The other one is a hostage. And the hostage, you have to take them and extract them to a different area of the map. So each one has its own drawbacks and its own pros. Like the secure area and the bomb, you can throw grenades and explosives into the room and try to kill the other team. But if it's the hostage, you can't do that because then you can kill the hostage. So,
so when you say that there's a hostage, is that a player as well? Like, is there just a player that's just moving?
No, it's not a player. It's just a random NPC.
That would be so boring.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there waiting.
No, it's an NPC that just sits there on the ground and cowers away from you sometimes. But
now, is the NPC smart? Or is it one of those really stupid ones where it's running into the
I'm
wall?
pretty sure as far as NPCs go, it's the dumbest one you could possibly have. It just sits in the room until you extract him, and then he just follows you where you go. So it's literally can't do anything without someone else's help. So about as dumb as you can get.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually have Rainbow Six, the first one for the PlayStation original.
Okay.
And that game is. Have you played the original Rainbow Six games?
I have not played the original games. There's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of Rainbow Six games. I did read the book. Because there is a book. The book, I think, is where the games came from. And the whole premise of it is it's a multinational counterterrorism unit.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why you have operators from all the different organizations. That's the Rainbow is the whole spectrum.
Yeah.
So that's where I think it comes from. Not 100% sure, but I did read the book. It's a good book.
Yeah, because I what was it? The PlayStation one. Well, the Rainbow Six games were always based on realistic, where it's just one shot and you're dead.
Yeah.
Is that how the new one is still?
It is that way. In the sense that if you shoot someone in the head, they're dead. One shot,
or if it's 2 shots and then you're dead.
Yeah,
it
is it is more realistic in that sense. But in my own experience, there are certainly times where if you're shooting someone in the back, they shouldn't be able to like just turn around and start shooting at you. Like that's obviously going to have some sort of impact on your body.
Yeah.
Where you can't operate the same way. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty realistic.
Yeah. The what was it? The PlayStation one I have, the graphics. Have you ever seen the graphics for the play?
I think like the last time I saw another Rainbow Six game was like new, like in Vegas or something. Or
yeah, oh my gosh, I almost need to pull up some pictures of Rainbow Six on the PlayStation because, dude, the graphics are so bad. The game's actually kind of scary.
It's gonna be scary.
Like the people are just like uncanny. Like, hold on.
Uncanny in what way?
Like they're just freaky looking.
They're freaky looking. Okay.
Like the hostage, you want to kill the hostage because it's just so freaky. It's so freaky. Like you don't want to save the hostage.
All right.
Yeah. Look. Oh my gosh. Look at this. You're gonna laugh at this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Imagine saving that guy.
This is like
and it's like it's pitch black at night, you know, and he's like following you. You're like, get away from me, dude. Yes.
Okay, the same graphics as like, you know, GoldenEye or where there was like super old James Bond games.
Yeah. I don't know, those old games are sometimes were just creepy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you on that one, but
and they moved like abnormally fast. Like their legs are just like
just like the way they moved.
Yeah, you're just like, what is going on here? And they were like, you would turn around and the hostage's face would be like right in your face. You're like, whoa! It's like back up.
Oh man, yeah, those old games, they definitely did. Looking back on them, yeah, I get it. You know, they compared to nowadays, it's probably pretty creepy. But you know, they were doing the best back then.
I even was watching some YouTube videos about saying people were commenting on how creepy Mario 64 is.
Really? Is it creepy? I
don't think so.
I don't remember.
But I guess if you think about it, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, think about it like what? How is it creepy?
Like, like the premise just doesn't make any sense. Like you're alone in this castle, and you're like jumping into picture frames, and you're just like in a weird world. I don't know.
I think sort of all those Mario games. Well, I'm thinking more. So like Paper Mario. You ever played Paper Mario?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I never played it. My brothers played it, and I remember thinking like, "This is a super weird game."
Yeah, the 2D paper.
Yeah. So I mean, that's how I think. It's just sort of super weird games.
Yeah. What's the weirdest game you've ever played?
The weirdest game I've ever played?
Because I know mine.
All right, you tell me yours, and I'll be thinking about it. The weirdest.
Have you ever played Katamari?
Katamari? I've never even heard of it until right now.
So it's a Japanese game. It came out for the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and you're basically like this alien that's got this ball, and you're literally you're running over objects, and the ball just gets bigger and bigger, and like eventually, like, so you start off like small, like little guy. So you're collecting like.
You're like a snowball.
Yeah, you're collecting like just little objects like erasers and like pencils and stuff, and then pretty soon you get so big that you start consuming like people and cars, and then pretty soon you're like consuming like skyscrapers, and then pretty soon you're consuming like entire lands, and then you consume the whole Earth, and then you consume like the whole universe.
Well, jeez. Right,
it's really addicting because you're like, I'm gonna get this idiot, and then what's funny is when you run over them, they start screaming like bloody murder, like ah.
Okay, yeah, I think that's probably. I'm not gonna top that. Man, I don't know. Weirdest game I ever played. It's tough. I think probably maybe Dead Space.
That's a weird one.
Only in the sense that like. You know, like they keep pulling out that obelisk or the idol, and it keeps turning people into aliens, and like they keep doing it. They're like, I'm part of this weird religion that turns people into aliens. They're like, let's just keep this going, man. Let's turn everyone into aliens. I'm like, why? It's obvious this is not the right way to go. And everyone's like, yeah, let's keep going.
I forgot about that. You're right, because it was. I forgot that in the story it was like some type of religion, like space religion, right?
Yeah, I can't remember what
like
it's
they
called.
weren't they like
they're called
like celebrating the stone or something, and
yeah,
it
like
kept like turning everyone.
It was like celebrating the the marker.
Yeah,
the
that's
marker.
it. Yeah,
and like they were called Unitarians, and like they were like, oh, we're like celebrating the marker, but like it kept turning everyone into aliens, and aliens had killed everybody. I was like, maybe after the first game, like maybe we shouldn't do this anymore, you know? And there's 3 games, so like it obviously keeps going. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, I think which one was your favorite? Because I remember the first one was really fun. Like, scary. The second one was fun, but I never beat the third one.
I think I don't have to beat the third one either. I don't know. The first one was good. It just really, like, lays the framework for the whole series, the whole, series of games, but it ain't probably the first one. The first one was cool. I liked being on, like, a spaceship, quote-unquote.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was kind of cool. I got to, like, feel like I was Lost in Space or something like where I was on a big spaceship. So that was cool. I like that.
Yeah, I like the part in the game where when you're out in space and there's like no noise, or like the noise is like muffled.
That definitely.
And it was like kind of made it like more scary. You're like, oh shit.
That definitely made it like anytime you're weightless, like anytime it was 0G.
Yeah.
There's no noise, and all of a sudden you see these guys like.
Yeah, you couldn't hear the monsters very well, so it was like, oh shit, like there's one right behind me. I didn't even know it.
Yeah, I used to play that game, and my ex-wife would be sitting like next to me on the couch, and like she would like be like reading or something, and she'd look up and it's like scream. And I'm like, oh shit, because I'd like turn around, there's one right there. She's like, oh.
Well, the music. For me, it was a stupid music that would scare the shit out of me, because like when they would have the jump scare, they would have like the dramatic music, and it's like, "Dah!" And you're like, shut up. Like, it would like make me like jump out of my seat. I don't know.
It definitely did get me. So I played through like I think 2 times with the music. And then my third time playing through those games, I would turn the volume off.
Oh, okay.
And I'd like listen to an audiobook while I was playing.
Yeah.
To convince myself I'm making myself a better person by reading a book. And
that was almost kind of scarier, isn't it?
It is certainly scarier because like you don't have the like even though the music is scary,
it builds up to it.
It gives you an indication that something's happening. Like
I think I tried that same thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is even worse.
It is worse because like you're like, oh, there's nothing going on. Then you turn around, there's someone like hacking at you, like, oh god, there's someone right there. Like I didn't even hear the music the music wasn't even there to help me. So yeah. The music was scary, but it was even worse with no music because now I have no indication that something bad is going on.
Have you played any other like horror video games?
I'm trying to think. I wouldn't say horror video games. I definitely played some. There are a couple of Sherlock Holmes video games where like you have to do some investigating and whatnot, and those were kind of scary sometimes. Or like, no. I would say no. I would say those weren't really scary. They were just.
I love scary games.
I'm trying to think. I've thought about playing the F.E.A.R games. Looking to play the F.E.A.R games.
Yeah.
You told me about them.
F.E.A.R is good. F.E.A.R. You would like F.E.A.R because it's kind of like Dead Space.
Yeah.
Where it's just the only difference is it's in first person. So, I don't know how to. I guess F.E.A.R is kind of. I'd say it's like kind of like Halo, but with like a horror twist to it.
Okay.
Like kind of the same gameplay. You can only carry 3 guns at all times. Of course, you could switch out whatever gun you get from your enemy. But yeah, you can only carry 3 guns. And the combat is very similar to Halo. Like a lot of ducking, a lot of, hiding and stuff. What was it? The cool thing, though, is you get this slow matrix feature where you can go in slow motion.
Oh, okay, all right.
So when you're in trouble, you could go in slow mo and like just freaking. Oh, dude, it's so fun.
That sounds like the kind of the Deadeye feature in Red Dead Redemption. Do you play those games?
I did.
Okay,
no.
yeah, it's like he.
Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, it's like a Western kind of
yeah,
game.
Yeah, actually, I have the second one.
You go slow mo, and you can like pick out targets for like a certain amount of time. So similar to that, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, there's a time frame for it, but yeah, it's fun. You'd like it. Do you what console do you play on?
So Xbox One S is what I have now.
Oh,
I have an Xbox
okay.
One S and an Xbox 360. Because I like to play NCAA 14. Like it's like a football game, but it's like college football, so it's not Madden.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I
those
didn't know they had
NCAA
that.
games were like some of my favorite games. Like 12, 13, and 14 I have those games. So you can only play it on a 360. So I actually bought like 4 different Xbox 360s on like Facebook Marketplace, and none of them worked until like my 4th one.
Really?
Yeah.
So like, that's interesting. Xbox, are they really that like rare to find like a working one now?
I guess so. I don't know.
What the heck?
I'm not sure. I have like absolutely no idea, but I bought like 3, and like none of them worked. Like,
wow.
Like they worked in the sense like I could plug it in, and like it would come up on the TV screen, and then I put the game in, and they're like, oh, it's like unreadable.
Oh, what the heck?
So I was like, maybe it's like my disc. So then I went to back. I was like, I got another disc. I bought like another disc.
Yeah.
Same thing. I finally got like, because there was like the Xbox 360 that was like bigger. They had the smaller version. I got a smaller version. I don't know what they're called, but I plugged it in and it worked. And I was like, oh, great. No idea what the problem was, but so I have those 2 consoles.
So was Xbox 360 backwards compatible with like the previous Xbox?
So the Xbox One is backwards compatible with some games.
Because I was gonna say what happened, because like the PlayStation 2 is was compatible with PlayStation 1 games, but the problem is over time, like the one that I have, the really old one, problem is that the eyeball actually has to move up or down. So like in order to read a PlayStation 1 game, it has to get like really close to the disc. And then to read the PlayStation 2 game, it has to get further away. And what happens is like the system just forgets that it has to move the eyeball up, and then it can't read the disc. Dude, it sounds insane, but I actually took my PlayStation 2 apart and like physically moved the eyeball up, and then it could read PlayStation 1 games again. And then I'd move it down and read PlayStation 2 games again. But it doesn't remember how to do that.
That's really weird.
It's really weird.
That is weird. I kind of always thought that it was... Because when it comes to Xbox One and the Xbox 360 games, well, it only is backwards compatible if the game isn't an Xbox One game. So they made it into an Xbox One game or an Xbox One compatible game. You have to buy that game for it to work. But the problem with the NCAA games was that they couldn't make them anymore because the college players wanted compensation for their likeness, and they couldn't pay them for it. It's against the law. So they stopped making the games in 2014. It's still 2022. That was a long time ago.
Oh, shit.
8 years ago. So I think that's why it wasn't backwards compatible. Maybe. I have no idea. But, yeah, no, I have no idea. But it is backwards compatible for some games. Like, I can play, like Black Ops 1, like Call of Duty games on it.
Right on. Yeah, I did some research because the PS4 is just PS4. You can't play anything else. And I looked into it, and the reason why is because, if I'm not mistaken, that the PlayStation 4 actually spins the disc at a slower rate than the previous consoles. So, like, it's physically not capable of reading older CDs because it's got to spin faster, but it doesn't spin fast enough Like,
that's pretty funny. You know, something I wouldn't think about. And now that I'm thinking about it, is that just because they want to sell like more PS4 games, or
maybe? I don't think so, though. I mean, there's a lot of games that they haven't remastered. Yeah, I think it was just something they didn't really think through.
I mean, I guess it would make sense that the slower the disc is spinning, like the less wear and tear on the drive, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. Well, the other thing I noticed too is when you install the games, you're actually installing the entire game onto your hard drive, and the disc is just like a copyright key to allow you to play it.
Okay.
Like it's like you're not even really using your it's not even really using the disc.
So
it's
like
just
once it's installed, you do the disc out. You don't need it anymore.
Well, no, you have to have the disc. The disc is like like confirming that you own the game.
Okay, all right.
But that's all it does, I think. I don't know.
Well,
who knows?
I mean,
some nerd's gonna comment on the video and be like, "You guys are idiots."
Yeah, probably, man. I got no idea. I got absolutely no idea how that shit works. So, I mean, it does make sense that they would download onto the hard drive, and then you'd have the disc in there to physically confirm that you have it. Because it's all you do. If you just download it, then you just give it to your friend.
Exactly.
Now he can have it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah. What do you think about the I don't know. I don't. What do you think about the just games being digital downloads now? Do you like that, or do you like the hard copies?
I'm a fan of the hard copy.
Yeah, me too.
Just because, like, you know, so, I mean, I guess it would be a throwback, I guess, to, like, my first Xbox 360. I think it was a sophomore in high school. It's going to be 2011, 2012. I played the Call of Duty Zombies. You ever play that?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
So Call of Duty Zombies, that was my game mode. Like, I'm not good at Call of Duty then. I was not good at now. But the Zombies I was pretty good at. So I loved to play that. And so I had like every DLC, every map. And then, you know, you fast forward to, you know, a couple years ago, I got a new Xbox. And now I don't have those maps anymore because it's part, like, attached to my old gamer tag, I guess, or my old Microsoft account. I don't know what it is. But, like, all of that was digital, and now it's gone because, A, I don't have that account anymore, or I don't remember the password, or what have you. But, like, I go back to all these old, like, discs that I have saved up, and now I can pop them in and play them whenever. So, I'm a fan of that. The fact that I can just, like, you know, have it in a disc, pop it in, use it. Not have to worry about a password or a gamer tag or anything like that. I like that, but, of course, that isn't going to make money for Microsoft or, you know... PlayStation or anything, so I'm like,
dude, it got me so mad because one time I just wanted to play Halo, you know, and I bought it off of Steam, like the Master Chief Collection or whatever, and this is like when I was live streaming. I would live stream video games for a little while. I'm like, all right, we're like first time playing Halo, let's do this, and then I click play, and it goes, oh, you only installed, like, the menu. You have to install the game. I'm like, what? So then I install the game, and then it's like, oh, by the way, now you have to update the game. I'm like, God damn it. Like, what happened? I just freaking missed just put the disc in and play it.
Yeah, definitely that was something that, like, at least for me, transitioned from the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One. Like, Xbox 360, and as far as I remember... You put the disc in, you're good to go. You start playing.
Yeah.
Xbox One is like, oh, you got the game? That's great, man. Now you just got to wait for 4 hours for it to download.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of funny because my family grew up on Nintendo and PlayStation. Like, nothing to do with Xbox.
Okay.
But after playing the first Halo, this sounds weird, but... I'm looking at the original Xbox. I'm like, oh, that looks kind of fun. Like buying an original Xbox with like the Halo game and stuff. So stupid.
I'll tell you what, I grew up not having video games, but like we had friends, like family friends that had video games, and every time we went over there, it was like, hey, I think it was Halo 2.
Oh, okay.
Halo 2, me and our brothers would play and just shoot each other to death and play in that game. Ton of fun. I love playing the Halo games growing up, but I'll tell you what, nowadays, I've read the Halo book series.
Oh, yeah, you're telling me that.
Some of the book series. If anyone's listening, talking about the Halo book series, it's really convoluted. Like, way more than I can figure out, so. But I've definitely listened or read, listened to a bunch of the books, and then trying to go play the games, it is super slow.
Oh.
Because, like, when you read the book, it's like all the info, you just get all the information, you just read it one after the other as the information's coming in. And the game is like, they're like, oh, here's some information, now you got to kill a bunch of NPCs.
Yeah.
And then it's like
for like 3 hours.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, here's now a little bit. Now here's another tidbit information. Here we go. And then little tidbit information here, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then see with the older games, they have like the same room, like they just have the same room.
Yeah, it's very repetitive.
Like 5 times in a row. I'm like, man, am I going the right way? Like every room is the same.
That was my main complaint about Halo 1 was it just the maps were so repetitive. You're like, okay, I've been through the same room like 5 fucking times already. Like, you guys couldn't come up with something different?
Yeah. I was playing at the Halo Master Chief Collection. I was playing through. I was like, man, I have no idea if I'm going the right direction. It's like nowadays you have like games, they have like a marker you go to, or like they're like, oh, you got to go this way. They're like, just good luck, man. Just keep going. And I'm like, is this the right way? Like, I have no idea.
Yeah, so I beat the first Halo on what do you call it? Second to hardest. What is that called?
Legendary or
yeah, maybe it was legendary. I can't remember. Anyways, I beat it, but I beat it with like the new graphics,
Oh yeah.
And then one Saturday, I was like, all right. I was drunk. I was like, I'm gonna beat this game in like the classic graphics, but just like on the easiest mode. And I just freaking plowed through the game. It was so fun.
Man, I'll tell you what I did on the Master Chief Collection. You had like you could switch the new graphics to old graphics.
Yeah. And I was doing that all the time.
I used to do that, and I'm like, man, this is way worse. Yeah, it is right now.
You're like, yeah, it's so bad because they would have like in the original game, it would just be like a concrete structure.
Yeah.
And then in the new one, it would actually look like a structure.
Yeah. Like it was supposed to look like something.
Yeah, back then it was just like, oh, concrete here, concrete there.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely had a hard time playing those games after reading the books because it was just like it was fun to read the books, and then like the game was like, man,
that's an interesting story actually, because I mean when I first played through it, I wasn't really paying attention, and then when I played through it again, because since I was on easy mode, I was able to just fly through the game.
Yeah.
So it was a lot, like you said, it was a lot easier to like understand what was going on, because there wasn't like that couple-day gap period before
you learn any new information.
Yeah. It was just like bam, 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 bam. But yeah, it was an interesting story how they were basically, well, in the first game they had to destroy the Halo, right? Before it destroyed like the whole galaxy or some shit like that.
Yeah. So essentially, they had the Covenant, the bad guys,
Yeah.
And then before them was called the Forerunners, which is another alien civilization, and I think it was 19 Halos they had. And the Halos were meant to destroy all living life within like light years. Like it was like 19 light years or 20 light years, something crazy.
Like the Halo itself would destroy?
Yeah.
Huh.
And again, without the whole story, I'm not 100% sure, but they had these things called the Flood, which I'm sure those little blob things that would,
yeah,
the Flood would like any sentient life, like the humans, Covenant, whatever, they would like jump on them and like stick a needle in their spine and take them over. And the Flood was sort of like a hive mind that would just sort of take over civilizations. So
Like a parasite, basically.
Yeah, parasite. And the Forerunners, I'm not sure they created the Halos because of the Flood, but the Flood would destroy, like, the Halos would destroy the Flood and anything that could be used to create more Flood. So
that's why they have the Halos. Huh.
Yeah. They were weapons. They were like these weapons that would destroy all sentient life within a certain radius.
Mm.
And the Covenant is trying to... Man, it's a really complicated...
I know.
I'm
but
sorry.
I really liked the first game where it was like, oh, like, you need to blow up the main spaceship or else, like, the whole galaxy is going to be destroyed. And you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Yeah, they use it's called the Pillar of Autumn as a ship. So, oh, man.
Yeah, and then it blows up at the end. That was so awesome.
Yeah, so they do use the Pillar of Autumn to blow up the ring that they're on. It's really complicated, but yes, that is what they do. And the Halo is a weapon used to destroy life. So
kind of like the Death Star.
Yes, but more effective than the Death Star.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when you're talking about a whole galaxy.
You're talking about light years of space. Yeah, if the Death Star just blow up one planet.
I know.
Not that one planet's not a lot, but So the Covenant is trying to just take and like all the Forerunner artifacts and like the Halos and stuff is all part of their like. They're all trying to take it because it's part of their religion, something like that. It's really complicated.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a cool. I got sucked into it. I need to play the second one now. I saw a little bit of the first intro. Are they like rebuilding the Halo? Is that what they're doing in the second one?
I'm not sure. Maybe. All I know is there are I think 20 Halos about the galaxy.
Mm-hmm. So
they could be rebuilding one. They could be just finding the other one or rebuilding the one they blew up. I have no idea.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I'll have to. I can't wait to play through that one. That one looks like fun.
I haven't played through the games. I've read some of the books, but there's like 30 books by like 20 different authors. Mm-hmm. So it gets real convoluted. So I haven't even tried to figure it out. I did watch our YouTube video about it, and yeah, it's too complicated. Watch the YouTube video, man. I got no idea. I can't even tell you. All I know is I really enjoy watching that Master Chief, run around shooting people. So
yeah, it's a fun game. Kind of reminds me, well, not the same thing, but people say the same thing about The Walking Dead. They're like, oh, reading the comics is so much better than watching the TV show, And I'm like, well.
I have not read any of the comics. I did watch a couple of seasons of The Walking Dead. I want to think like 4 or 5 seasons maybe.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. I can't remember.
That's pretty far.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty good. I thought it was good, but it just like...
It kept going on.
It definitely seemed like they would like get into this like... They're like, oh no, we're in this bad situation. They're like, oh, now we found a place to live forever. And that place to live forever would like, get attacked. And they're like, now to find a new place to live forever. And I'm like, you can only do this so many times.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. All right. Okay, never mind. I don't know. It's just...
Where'd you end at?
Man,
because I ended right when they captured Negan.
So I think I'm not as far as you.
Oh, okay.
I think that they were at the prison, and then they went to like that new settlement.
Oh,
with like that senator lady who's in charge.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then that weird like priest who went on like ape shit and like left the door open.
Yep.
Yeah. I think I got to there.
Okay.
So I didn't get any further than that. I'm not sure how far that is.
Oh man, you So you didn't see Negan though, like when Negan showed up?
So I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
But no, I did not see.
Okay, that I have to admit that that's probably the best part of the whole show is seeing Negan come out and just like this guy is just like the worst villain. Like they really make you hate him, and then like it builds up and they just have this insane war with him and stuff. And then they finally capture him, but I'm like, why did you capture him? Like, they should have just killed him and ended it. Like, because it was honestly the pinnacle of the show. And you're just like, it doesn't need to go on after this. You know, it's like, just kill him.
I know what you mean, man. And that's one thing that frustrates me about, like, TV shows and movies today is, like, they don't do the logical thing. They do the thing that's going to progress the show further. And I'm like, come on. It's like, just because you're making the show keep going doesn't mean it's going to be good.
Yeah, and I think they're on like their last season, but it's so like people are so over it. Like no one even knows what the show's even about anymore. You know, it's just the last I heard was all like, like I think like Negan is now like a good guy. And it's like what? It's like what? It's like, give me a break.
Well, now that sounds like something they've already done before. Like, who's Daryl's brother? You know what I'm talking about? The guy with got his hand cut off?
Yeah.
Like, he was bad. Then he was, like, good.
Yeah.
They're like, now they're doing that again with him?
Yeah,
I mean,
it just... Or like, the other guy. Remember the one guy from the first season? The black guy with the stick? With the... Like, he went insane during one of the seasons. I almost killed Rick with all the booby traps and stuff. And remember him? Like he went insane, and then all of a sudden he found God or whatever. He was like all good. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean you can only like pull it out of a hat so many times before.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
Like,
it's
come
like
on,
okay,
man.
yeah.
But that's me. You know, like, there has to be a certain entertainment factor, but you know. I think that's the problem is, like, these TV shows, like, they just want to keep them going until they die, and that's not a good way to make TV shows.
Did you watch Breaking Bad?
I did watch Breaking Bad, yeah.
Yeah, like, I love that show because it just has a clear beginning and a clear end, and then it's just done after, 5 seasons, and then that's it. Yeah. And it ended. It ended the way you wanted it to end. It didn't just, like, keep...
Yeah, you want it to end in a good way and not end like where it dies and nobody cares.
Yeah, where the show just fades away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that is sort of a sad thing. Like I feel like The Office did that. You know, last 2 seasons weren't as good, but they were still good, and they still ended it. I think in a good way. Same with Parks and Rec. They had a good show, and they ended it. And now I'm sitting over here being like, man, I wish there was more Office and Parks and Rec. But they ended it in a good way. They didn't beat a dead horse, so it's good.
Yeah, kind of like, well, I don't know. You got shows like The Simpsons and, what is it, South Park, where they keep going on and on.
Yeah, Family Guy, I mean, same way.
Yeah, and to some extent, like, those shows, you have like your good seasons and bad seasons. They just like come and go, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, I think when it comes to shows like that that are comedy, and that where there isn't like a firm backstory to stuff, then you can kind of be like, well, we'll just do whatever's funny. That's what's good, you know. And I'm a big Family Guy fan, and so like I'll look at things like Joe. You know, Joe's in the wheelchair. He has like 4 different backstories, and they keep changing. And I'm like over here like it doesn't make any sense. But then you gotta step back, and you're like, it's a stupid comedy show, so let's not care about that. And so they can kind of keep evolving and doing their own thing and changing stuff, and it's still funny.
Yeah,
certainly. And so I'm okay with that, you know.
Yeah, it's true. Like comedy shows kind of have more wiggle room because you're not supposed to take it seriously. Like,
if you're taking it seriously, maybe you should watch something else. Like,
I remember in South Park, Kenny would die every single episode. Yeah. Like, he would always die. And then finally, one season, they're just like, okay, this time he's actually dead. And it was like, made it even funnier because, like, he never came back for, like, a whole, like, season or 2. It's like, wow, he's really dead. It's, like, funny.
Yeah, definitely when it comes to those comedy shows, those animated comedy shows, it's like, all right, you know, you can do what you want. Like, we're not going to take it too seriously.
Yeah.
So those ones I do think are funny. And you don't have to take them too seriously.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any show. Do you watch any, like, reality shows? Reality TV shows?
No.
No?
Reality shows? Man, I watched a couple of episodes of Queer Eye.
What the heck is that?
Okay, so my ex-wife was a fan of Queer Eye, and it's like these 5 gay guys who are all like, man, like fashion designers or interior decorators. They're all fabulous, whatever. And basically, they would take people who were like, just like, in their opinion, like needed improvement, and they would go and like improve their lives.
Like the look?
Yeah, they're like their looks, like how they dress, like their like literally their homes and stuff. So they're like do stuff like they're like, oh, I'm gonna remodel this guy's home, and I'm gonna have him dressed in like a Hawaiian shirt or whatever. Just stuff like that, where it's like they're like, this guy's a sorry piece of shit over here, and we're gonna make him better.
Was there always like drama, like, oh my gosh, if we don't get this guy the right shirt today, he's gonna fail?
It wasn't drama like he was gonna fail, but like there's one episode sticks in my brain. This guy was like living in a trailer or something. I don't remember the episode, but the one thing I remember was like he would used to make himself. He called it like a redneck margarita or something, where he would like it was like tequila mixed with like Mountain Dew, and that was like his drink. And where they came in, they're like, "This drink is gross. We're gonna show you how to make a real margarita." And they're like, and
so stupid. I had to say, Jensen, you gotta up your reality show game here, okay?
So, again,
this is not a very good show. It sounds like.
Okay, in my opinion, no, it's not. In my opinion, is if people want to be left alone, leave them alone. They can drink tequila and Mountain Dew all day long if he wants to. I don't care. But they did help him improve his living situation and like give him some basic culinary skills, maybe. But I was always like, who cares? Like, let him do what he wants. But. So I did watch a couple episodes of that. Again, my ex-wife liked it, and I watched it with her. Yeah. And then I think I watched... Oh, there was one more. What did I watch? Oh, like My 600-Pound Life.
Oh, my God. Yeah, everyone watches that.
Again, my ex-wife really liked that, and I watched it with her. But I'll tell you what, man, that wasn't a bad show. I felt really good on myself after watching that show, so...
I always feel bad because like we'd be watching like those shows, my 600-Pound Life, or we'd be watching Biggest Loser. Remember that one?
Yeah, I never watched that, but I know.
But you know what?
Yeah, I know what it is.
We'd be watching that. We'd be eating pizza and drinking beer, going, man, well, look at these fat slobs. What the fuck? And they were like, wait, like what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like, every time I go to the gym and, like, I do a workout and, like, I feel like I bombed the shit out of it and I'm like, man, it's bad. And then I'm like, you know what? I did that workout. I'm not 600 pounds. I'm feeling all right about it now.
It kind of reminds me of kind of the same concept as Hoarders. Have you ever seen Hoarders?
I've never seen Hoarders, but
Oh, dude. Just get on freaking YouTube and you'll go down a rabbit hole. But,
actually,
dude,
I've heard about it.
You watch Hoarders? And your confidence goes up through the fucking roof. You're going, I'm not living in like little literal shit, so I'm good. Like, there's people who like are hoarding their shit.
I didn't hear that. Again, I think my ex-wife watched it and was like, this lady had so much stuff, like she couldn't go to the bathroom. She's like shitting in the bucket or something. And I was like, oh,
dude,
man.
It is bad. It's so bad I can't even drink beer when I'm watching the show. Like, there was this one episode where this lady had a toilet, and the poop was literally, like, piled, like, overflowing the toilet. They had to get, like, a hazmat team in and, like, just take the whole toilet out. It was insane.
You would think that at that point they'd be like, what, does she not flush toilet? Or?
Yeah, no, she just kept pooping on it. It just kept building up. Man. And then another woman, she was pooping in cups and just like leaving them around the house. You're like, what the fuck?
I'll tell you what, man. Yeah, that never makes me feel good about myself. Like,
You sleep better now. You're going, all right, I'm living the high life here.
I know how to go to the bathroom in a toilet. All right, and my floor is clear of stuff, so you know what? I'm killing it. I'm feeling really good over here.
Oh yeah, it's insane. And what's even more crazy is that they speculate that there's somewhere around like 2 million hoarders nationwide. Like 2 million.
2 million?
Yeah. So if you think about it, that's like 2 million episodes. That's like a never-ending show. Like, you basically are set for life. Like, A&E is like, all right, guys, we got this thing going on for life.
Oh, man. I mean, I guess so, but like that. Aren't people going to get tired? Like, are people going to start feeling a little sick to their stomachs watching that show?
You never get tired of this thing, okay? You go, it can't get any worse than this. And then they show you this next person's house. You go, holy shit. One of the worst ones I saw was, it was this like wealthy lady who had like this fucking like 4-story mansion, like massive, like her house looked like a castle. And she had hoarded the entire house. Like 4 stories of just nothing but junk. It was like, whoa.
Oh, jeez.
That was insane.
First of all,
like they couldn't even, they didn't even make a dent. They're like, yeah. By the end of the episode, they're like, we cleaned out the living room. That was about it.
I'll tell you what, man. I first of all, the fact that she has that house, and then she like cluttered it with shit. That is crazy to me.
I know, it's insane.
I wish, if I had a 4-story mansion, I would not clutter with stuff.
I know. It was like, fuck.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, it makes me feel good. I have basic cleanliness skills.
And you don't weigh 600 pounds.
And I weigh 600 pounds, so I'm already ahead, it seems like.
One of the weirdest episodes I saw was this. There was this hoarder, this lady. Just, oh my God, she was disgusting, just like, I don't know. How do you even describe disgusting? Just like nasty. Okay. And her trailer, she was living in a trailer. It was just like hoarded, nasty. There was mice running around everywhere. Like, she's feeding the mice and stuff. Ugh. But she had like she was a germaphobe.
Oh my! That's like an oxymoron. I've ever heard
it is the biggest oxymoron. How are you a germaphobe and you got all these mice running around your trailer and you're feeding them? It didn't make any fucking sense. She'd like put on the gloves and like when she's like handling stuff, and then next thing you know, she's like just feeding these mice and stuff.
I'll tell you what, man, that is absolutely nuts. Like, that's the definition of crazy right there.
Yeah, that is crazy.
You're like, I have these mice living in my house, but I'll put gloves on to feed them. Like, that is a crazy person, if I've ever heard one. Right there. What are you doing?
She was always constantly, like, cleaning her hands, and the sink was, like, overflowed with just, like, crap. You're like, what?
Yeah, it's funny. I always kind of figured, like like being a germaphobe kind of came with like being like OCD where everything had to be clean.
Yeah.
I guess that's not how it works. But that's always what I thought. Like, you can't have a sink overflowing with dishes and then be a germaphobe. Like, whatever.
Yeah, it was wild.
I guess
like,
I got
what?
no idea how it goes.
And she was using her freaking oven as like a storage unit. Like, there's this shit in her oven. Like, it's a fire hazard. It's like, that's why those, like, like, that's how those people die. Is like the fire, like, their shit catches on fire, and then they can't get out of the house because it's all.
Is that a big problem with the hoarders? They can't get out of their house because everything lights on fire. There's too much shit to get out.
Yeah. It's a big issue.
That's a fire hazard I didn't even know existed, but I guess. You know what? I'm not going to have that problem. So I'm not going to have to worry about it.
Yeah, they need to come up with the show My 600-Pound Life, and I'm a hoarder.
I don't know, man.
A 2-in-1, man. 2-in-1 punch.
That would just like end up in them being like stuck in one part of their house, being like, I can't get around because I'm too big and there's too much stuff everywhere. this interview him. Because like a big part of my 600-pound life is like they go to like the doctor, try to like.
Which is also fat most of the time.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
and I mean he's not small, but
that always cracks me up. This 600-pound guy would go to the doctor. The doctor isn't any skinny either. You know?
I'll tell you what.
I don't know. This is kind of funny.
In the episodes that I watched, okay, it wasn't so much that he was big. He just had like a thick accent. And you can't understand what he's talking about. And I was like, if you have a guy you can't understand what he's saying, you shouldn't put him on TV. All right? That is like a rule of thumb. Why would you put that guy on TV? But whatever. I don't know. Maybe there's not that many guys who do, gastric bypass or whatever. I have no idea.
I don't know, man. I guess that surgery helps in the short term, but it's like I've seen so many people who like they go through that surgery and then they end up just stretching their stomach back out again.
Yeah, I mean, I think more than anything it comes down to being able to have like willpower.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it helps in the short term. Like if you're literally dying,
it definitely does.
Yeah, but it's not like a permanent fix.
Does it?
For sure.
Can you stretch it back out? Like after?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, you can. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always thought that was kind of a cool thing. They're like.
No, yeah, no. I mean, it works at first, but.
I mean, I think when it really comes down to it, like if you really want to eat yourself into a early death, you can if you want to. Well, and if you pay a doctor to do a surgery, he's probably going to do it. So.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not saying like. I mean, obviously, I think there's people out there that truly need it to save their life immediately, and it works for that. But it's one of those things where it's not the only you got to keep it up. I don't know.
Well, it's like you ever read the book 2001: Space Odyssey?
No, I haven't.
It's not a super fun book, but it's a good book, in my opinion. And in the book, they're in space, and they have this supercomputer called HAL. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, HAL, the space computer, tries to kill the astronauts.
Oh, okay.
And he opens both the airlock doors. And I remember, there was... What was the quote? It was like... It's like, you can prevent catastrophes, but you can't ever prevent intentional, what was it? You can't prevent, intentional...
destruction
of the ship or something like that. I can't remember, and that's what happened. This computer was going nuts and trying to kill the astronauts. And so that, they figured it out, but I mean, you can fix things that are going wrong. Like if you're eating too much, you streak your stomach, but you can't fix intentional.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Hold on, I'm gonna get a beer. Are you good or?
I need the beer, man.
Oh yeah, so I was going to because you're talking about the
2001 Space Odyssey.
Yeah. So what's interesting about that is that about a computer that goes crazy?
Yeah, so it's a complicated book, and it's more set in the future. So I think it was written in the 60s or 70s, and so it's set in 2001. Obviously, we know what happened in the book did not happen in real life. But yeah, these guys were going on a space voyage to Saturn, Uranus, something like that.
Uranus,
Saturn or Neptune, maybe. And it had an AI computer named HAL. And for reasons that I can't remember or weren't explained, HAL tries to kill the astronauts. And so they have to, because there's lots of weird things happening, and they're can't figure out why, and then all of a sudden, there's this one instance in the book where, both the airlock doors open, they're okay, it's the computer trying to fucking kill us. So they go out and rip all the the memory cores out of his processor and kill him, quote unquote, as a computer. And then they go, they continue on the space mission, they do find, like, man, it's been a long time. It's been a long time since I read the book. I think it was 2015 maybe I read it, but they do find aliens, I guess, and there's a couple of books after that. It's like 3001, and there's a couple of books. I don't remember, but it was interesting because, you know, the HAL, you know, robot, AI, computer went nuts, and it's funny because they reference that in Futurama.
Oh, okay.
And I thought it was hilarious because it's such a esoteric reference. I was watching it recently. My brother Spencer, we both used to work at FedEx Express at the Boise Airport, and so we would like drive together there. We drive together there, obviously, and drive together back, and we'd listen to books together, like audio books. And I think he's like the only person I think I could have shown that reference to, because in the show Futurama they have like the asylum for like the criminally insane robots, and it's called like the HAL Institute, and I'm like, oh, that's a really great name for the institute. But I was like, who even knows that reference?
I would have never known.
Yeah, it's like I said, a pretty esoteric reference.
Yeah. No, that's interesting because that story reminds me of a video game called System Shock.
I've never even heard of it.
It was made by the same people who made BioShock.
Okay.
So kind of similar, but the System Shock game was made, I think, in like '94. So it was like very, very old, very like the graphics weren't good, the controls were just terrible, but the storyline was interesting. And then they came out with System Shock 2 that came out in like I think '99, and that game had like better graphics, better controls and stuff. Super hard. I still haven't beaten the game, but it's I'd have to say it's like one of the most. It was, I would say, one of the top creepiest games I've ever played.
Creepy in what way?
Like, because like uncanny. Like
you keep using that word.
Yeah, kind of. Well, it was kind of the same thing with Rainbow Six because it was made around the same time. You know,
okay.
Like the graphics are kind of creepy, but the story is creepy because you're in a space station and the AI has like gone nuts, which is called I think her name was called Showdown or something like that. I can't remember.
Okay.
But she basically like takes humans and like I don't know how to explain it. Like you're fighting humans that are like half human and half robot. Like they're like
augmented?
Yeah, they're like augmented. And they're like always saying like the most like creepy shit. They're like always like talking to themselves and like hunting you down and stuff. It's just like just so creepy. And she's like, and she'll come on the intercom and like just start saying like the most like bizarre creepy shit. Like
man, that sounds like
what the fuck?
Sounds like the game Portal or something. You play that game Portal?
Yeah, it's kind of like Portal, but like because Portal was more like the guy is just a robot. But this robot's like clearly trying to kill you, you know? It's like,
okay.
Yeah. Because Portal was more subtle, like.
Yeah, it definitely was more subtle, at least in the beginning. And then,
yeah.
And then you find out later, like, all right.
The cake, remember the cake?
The cake, yeah. Yeah, and then, like, yeah, but that was on Earth, I guess, near a space station, so it definitely does seem like, yeah, they're like augmented, reanimated humans or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like half human, half robot. It's like really freaky shit. And then you combine the bad graphics and everything, and it just makes for a creepy experience. No, and it's a frustrating game. I haven't beaten it. It's one of those games where if you don't play your cards right, like you have to start the whole game over.
Really?
Yeah, like if you don't upgrade the right stuff, if you don't like have the right strategy, there's like literally no turning back. Like you have to play the whole game over again. You're like, fuck. Because like I made the mistake of just upgrading nothing. Like in order to, there's two ways to play the game where you can upgrade your skill for weapons, meaning like guns and stuff.
Yeah.
To hold like bigger and powerful weapons. Problem is the weapons, you only have so many bullets. that you can find. And then the other way is to upgrade your psychic powers, which is almost like pretty much unlimited because, you know, it's you know. Well, anyways, I upgraded all the weaponry and got towards the end of the game and I just ran out of ammo. Like, there's literally nothing I can do. I lost the game. Like, I had to start all the way over.
I think that is interesting. I feel like that's only like an older game sort of thing.
That is so frustrating. It's like, it's brutal.
I'm trying to think of the game. What game was I playing? Oh, there was a game that I was playing. So, Xbox. So, when you have an Xbox, you got to join Xbox Live. Mm-hmm. So you can play online. And it's like $5 a month or something. It's not a lot, but I think it's more than PlayStation. I think that's free, but every month they have free, like a couple of free games, as long as you're part of Xbox. Xbox Gold. That's Xbox Gold. And a while back they had a free game. It's an Indiana Jones game, and I was like, "Oh man, I love Indiana Jones." You know. I was like, hello, Harrison Ford. So I got the game for free. And I was playing it, and it was one of those, like, super old, bad graphic games. And, yeah, the same thing. Like, I was, like, got caught in, like, a situation where I was, like, out of bullets. Because you only, like, they're like, here you got 13 bullets. And I'm like, that's it? You know? And there would be, like, a situation where I was like, what am I going to do? And so I never played the game again. So that's what I did. But like, yeah, like, what are you gonna do? You got 13 bullets for the whole 2 hours you're playing. I'm like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's the problem with old games. Is they're very very unforgiving. Like, there was no auto saves. No, like if you got towards the end of the level and you died, like you'd have to start all the way at the beginning of the level. Games are fucking. Games back then, you had to play shit over and over and over and over again just to beat the game, basically. Have you ever played, like, the Sega Genesis?
I mean, I have played the Sega Genesis, but it's been a while. Like, man.
Like the old Sonic games?
Yeah. I haven't played those. Any other games you can think of? I'm trying to think.
Another really popular Sega game was Streets of Rage. It was like a fighting game.
Is that not the same as Street Fighter?
No, Street Fighter was different.
Okay.
Streets of Rage was like a scrolling game where like you actually had levels, but you'd beat people up. It was a great game.
Okay. I did play Street Fighter, but I never played Streets of Rage.
Oh man, Streets of Rage is dude, that game was fun. But man, like the Sega games were brutal because those were more like arcade games where you'd have like 3 lives. And you'd have to just beat the whole game.
With 3 lives.
No saves or anything. And you're like, what the fuck? And you would waste 2 hours, and you get to the last level, or the final boss, and you would get game over, and you wasted 2 hours of your life.
Yeah,
that was... But, dude, when you won, oh, man, it was like, oh, Jesus, dude. I wish... About 10 years ago, I was playing the first Sonic game, right? And I wish I had this on video or something, because it was the most epic victory. Okay? I had 0 lives left.
Okay.
I played through the whole game, like, you know, just like it was on the classic, you know. Played through the whole thing, 0 lives, on the final boss, and somehow I managed to fucking win. And I was just like... I was like in the living room going, wow, I'm such a loser. No one saw that.
It's all right, man. I get what you're saying. It is one of those things. So like,
it was like, I was so happy, but at the same time, I felt defeated because I'm like, damn it, no one saw it.
Because you worked so hard to get there.
I worked so hard.
No one's
0 lives left.
No one's there to witness it, man. I definitely felt the same way. I play this game nowadays called it's a Tom Clancy game. But it's like Ghost Recon, called Ghost Recon Wildlands. Ever heard of it?
Mm-mm.
Essentially, you're part of like a 4-man fire team, special operations guys, and you go to Bolivia. and your whole task is to like take down this cartel called the Santa Blanca cartel, and so you just spend the whole game like destabilizing this cartel. It takes a long time to finish the game. It's probably like a 30-hour game to play. But there's a mode called Ghost Mode where you can't die. Like, if you die, it's over.
Oh, okay.
And I've played that mode several times. And I'll tell you what, there is no worse feeling than, like, sinking, like, 5 hours into this game, and then you die, and they're like, sorry, time to restart. And I'm like, oh, my God.
Oh, no. That sounds kind of, I don't know. Some of those challenges, though, are they're kind of fun, though, because you're like, oh, you start to get curious to see how far you could get. Like, Doom Eternal has something like that, where I think it's Ultra Nightmare, where if you die in a level, you have to start all the way over, which is brutal, because, I mean, those levels are like an hour and a half long, or an hour long if you're fast. Well, I'm sure there's someone out there that could beat the freaking game in like 2 seconds. But I'm just saying, it's like... Yeah, it's that's scary, but it sounds like a freaking insane. Like, almost makes you want to try it.
Well, I mean, like I said, I've like 3 or 4 times attempted it, and every time I get a little bit further, but there's some areas of the map are like easier, and some areas are harder, and a lot of it requires you flying around in a helicopter. And then there's some maps where they're like you have like surface to air missiles that shoot you down out of the sky. And so, like, I'll be, like, flying somewhere, and I'll get fucking shot out of the sky, and I'm like, well, great, now I'm dead.
That's depressing, though, to think if you played for 5 hours, and then it's just gone.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what?
Yeah, because well, little caveat there, I usually end up drinking when I'm playing that game. It was going well for a couple hours, and all of a sudden I get shut down, and I'm like, oh, time to start over. It's a fun game, but you should probably be okay with dying a couple times in that game. So.
Which, like, has ever been a time, like, in any video game, like, what's your most frustrating moment in a video game?
Man.
Like, a part where you just fucking hate, like, you hate it.
I guess, so this is my, man. So I was playing Dead Space, I think it was Dead Space 2, and I was in one of those things where I was, like, out in space. I had to, like, you like jump from, like, one object to the next, and then, like you reorient, and then you jump to the next object. I think I was playing that game, and I was in, like, that middle of the mission, and I, like, quit or something. And I was gone, and I didn't even come back for, like, months. So it was, like, a couple months, and I come back, and I'm in the middle of the mission, and I'm like, I have absolutely no idea where I'm supposed to go. So I ended up, like, jumping from object to object for, like, an hour, and I'm like, I have no clue where I'm supposed to go, what I'm supposed to do. I'm, like, jumping through, like, space. There's no sound either because you're in space, and I'm like losing it. I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
That happened to me so many times in that stupid game where, you're just jumping around in space. Like, what the fuck? And it gets even more hard because it's zero gravity, so you can literally go anywhere.
Yeah, you're, like, upside down. You're, like, no idea you're upside down. And then you're, like, at least in the spaceship, you have, like, an idea of which direction you're facing. But in that game, you're, like, your dude's standing up, and he's, like, upside down. You're like, what? I didn't even know that.
Or, like, the stupid little, like, indicator. Yeah. You're like, where is it? I don't even know where it's going.
Your guy, like, puts his hand out, and then it's like, whoosh, and you're like, where'd it go? I can't even tell where it went.
Yeah, that's what happened to me in the third game. The third game, I was in space, flying around in space.
Yeah.
Jumping from, like station to station, and I swear to God, I did that for, like, 3 hours. I didn't know what to do. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, that happened to me for sure. And then there was other times where, like, I was on the spaceship, but, like, you'd, like, go through, like, a zero-G area, so you, like, had to, like, go find CO2 somewhere, and you're like, or, like, and you're like, I'm dying because I'm running out of oxygen, but I can't figure out where to go. because I don't know what I'm doing.
That part of the game fucking pissed me off.
Yeah, definitely that game. I would say I have. There's a couple times where I would play Call of Duty Zombies.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Cold War, like not the newest game, but the second newest game. And they'd be like Easter eggs. You like complete these challenges to like finish the map. And I would like lose my mind trying to do them because they were just like just like things like you gotta kill it, get this enemy down to like super low health, and then like throw this box out, and then you gotta like double tap X when he goes over, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm dying over here trying to do these challenges. This is ridiculous.
Did you ever play like a video game where you got one of those timed missions? Don't you like the timed missions where it's like counting down?
Okay, it depends on the mission. Okay, sometimes extra time is definitely required. Like you know, if you want to be like stealthy maybe, or like do things like.
Oh no, I'm talking about like freaking a bomb's gonna go off. You gotta save this person and then escape in like 50 seconds, and you're like, what?
I hate those. I hate those. I have that in the Rainbow Six Siege game that I play. Like, I'll be on, like, defense and, like, plant the diffuser. Because in the game, there's 2 different bombs that are, like, one bomb. I don't know how it works, but 2 different rooms of the building have bombs in them. And they're like, the diffuser's been planted. I'm like, it's me, like, versus one bad guy. And I'm like, I have to kill this guy and defuse the bomb. And I'm like, everyone's watching me play this game. And I'm like, God. So I like run around and like try to defuse the bomb and kill this guy, and I'm like,
man.
and there's like a timer, and I'm like, shit, this is really stressful.
That reminds me of. Did you ever play the Resident Evil games? So there was this in Resident Evil 0. There is this part near the beginning of the game that just stressed the shit out of me, where it was a timed thing. You know,
Yeah.
You're on a train. The train's about to crash, right? So you have to engage the brakes.
Okay.
So in order to do that, well, Resident Evil 0 is an interesting game because you're actually controlling 2 characters at once. So like you can flip flop between 2 different characters.
Okay, so you could, but you're not at the same time.
No, not
okay.
so.
All right.
So like the way it works is you can tell. You know, the moment you flip to one character, the other one becomes an AI.
Okay.
Okay. Or you could tell it to just stay there, not do anything. Or you could tell it to walk and stuff. Anyways, that creates a puzzle. Okay. So, in order to stop this train, you're you have to send one of the characters to one end of the train, right? To the very end of the train, and there's like a computer thing. And the computer has you have to, like, there's 2 screens. There's one on the right and one on the left. So the right screen will show, like, a random number, like 72. And then the left screen, you have to basically, there's, like, 9 points where you have to count up. You have to add to that number for 9 points. So you have to do, like basic, like, math, you know.
Okay.
So, but there's a timer going on this entire time. Like you have like 2 minutes to do this shit. You're like, oh my god, you know, like you're not thinking straight. So you get that done, right? Then you have to transfer to the other person who is at the front of the train to do the same thing. But in order to do that, you have to have a key card for the front. So if you forgot to give them the key card, you're screwed. but anyways, let's assume you have the key card. You go into the computer. It shows you your number you have to match, but the other screen's broken, so you don't even know what you're calculating. Oh, like you have to just know it. Jeez. And then you turn on the brakes, and oh, dude, that was so freaking stressful.
That sounds really like stress-inducing right there.
Oh my god, dude! I can't tell you how many times I'd be like, okay, I got the first one done, and then the second person's like, I need a key card to access this computer. I'm like, oh, fuck! It's done. We're crashing.
That's funny, man. You know, I had a similar game. Well, sort of similar. You ever heard of Jackbox?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, you can have it on Steam, I think. You can also have it on Xbox where it's like on the screen, like your TV screen, but everyone logs in with their phone.
Oh, okay.
And you play a game. So, like, he'll have... Sometimes there's a bunch of different games where you can play, like, games. But one of the games is, like... It's called Bomb Core. It's like a company, quote-unquote, where it'll tell you, like, instructions on the screen. And then everyone has, like, different instructions on their phone. And you all have to work together to figure out the bomb. And you got to keep going. It is really fucking hard. Like, I don't think I've got through the third stage before. Like, it'll be.
So how do you figure out the bomb?
So it'll tell you like. I'm trying to think. Maybe I've only played with like 2 people before, but it'll tell you like on the screen be like the wire next to the red wire is the wire to cut. On your phone, it'll be like you have the wire next to the yellow wire. Like. Next person will be like, you have the wire next to the red wire. And it's like, oh, you got to cut that one. And you got to, like, talk to each other. And there's a time limit.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it is bad. Like, we ended up dying a bunch of times and we never played it again. So.
Goddamn time limits. I hate time limits in games.
Yeah. I don't really experience them too much. In that Wildlands game I was saying about, they have, like, one thing where it's timed. And that's, like... You go around and, like, deactivate these, like, cell towers. Which only to, like, do 2 in a row. And you have, like, 2 minutes to do it, so you just fly a helicopter around and do it. But other than that, no. I hate time limits, man.
Yeah, I just... fuck it. The other thing I really hate are underwater levels. Underwater
levels?
Yeah.
Do you get those a lot in games you play?
Well, yeah, when you're playing, like, the 2D games...
Okay, the 2D.
Like Mario,
okay,
Sonic, Donkey Kong. They're just stupid.
Yeah, you don't like them?
They're just a waste of time. I don't know why they made them.
The only underwater game...
Like, why? Why would you make an underwater level? They're so dumb.
I don't know, man. The only underwater game I've ever played is... I think I've done some underwater stuff with, like, Assassin's Creed. You ever play those games?
Mm-mm.
It was...
So,
yeah.
What is Assassin's Creed? That game seems interesting. I'd never played it, but I think I've seen my friends play it where it's like the guy can just, like, climb everywhere.
Yeah, so essentially the game is... Well, I'm not an expert, but... The basis of the game is, like, you're part of, like, an archaeology team in, like, Egypt or... wherever they do archaeology, I have no idea. And they find, like, remnants of, like, a pharaoh or the Egyptian person. I'm not 100% sure. But they'll, like, plug their DNA into a computer, and then it allows somebody to get on, like, the simulator and, like, live out their life. So essentially it ends up with you, like, you're like a person from modern day, and you plug into this computer with these DNA fragments, and then you're, like, back in, like, the Egyptian times, and you're, like, an assassin. And there's some sort of, you know, hierarchy and, like, ways to join the assassins, but...
Yeah, because the series is always, like, in the past.
Yeah, it's always
like... And I think one of the latest ones was like, wasn't it like the 1700s or something?
So they've gone through a bunch. There was one in, the most recent one that I remember was like ancient Greece. So it was like right. Sparta and Athens.
That's the one I remember. That was that the 360?
No, Xbox One, I think.
Oh.
And then before, that was. Yeah, that was like, that was called Odyssey. Before that was called Origins, and that was like ancient Egypt. And before that, I think was like ancient Rome.
Hmm. Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of.
There's a bunch
Ancient
of ones
Rome.
like there was like Egypt, Greece, Rome. There was one that was there was one that was like England.
Oh yeah, I think you might be right on that, huh?
Yeah, I haven't watched that one because that was
Yeah.
on Syndicate, I think. But it's kind of weird because they don't really follow a chronological order. Because Syndicate was England,
Mhm.
like around. I'm gonna say around World War I or II. Then you go to like Egypt, which is like way before that, and you have like Odyssey, which was I think I have no idea, but definitely it's a game. But yeah, you just run around and you kill people basically is what you do. But it's a fun game. It's like and there's like free running where you can like climb like any building or whatever, and you like jump off of buildings and shit. And it's a fun game. It's a big open world game, and you kind of like control your own destiny in a certain sense.
Like good man, bad man type of thing.
Sort of.
Oh, okay.
I mean, so in Origins, when you're in Egypt, there wasn't really any of that. But then you go to Odyssey, where you're in Greece, and then the one where you're in Greece, you can kind of pick like the Spartans or the Athenians, but there isn't really good man, bad man.
Yeah, it was interesting because I found this really interesting video on YouTube where it showed like the sizes of maps, video game maps.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this, but the biggest map right now is Zelda Breath of the what is it? What is that one Zelda game? Breath of the Wild
I'll take your word
or
for
something?
it. Is that I don't know what it is.
Well, the latest Zelda.
Okay.
But apparently that's the biggest map right now.
How big is it?
It's the biggest one.
Well, you can't just hit the biggest one and tell me how big it is.
I don't know.
Okay.
The video was showing the maps,
Okay.
different sizes, and then the biggest one was that one.
I know, like, the Assassin's Creed games were, like, a couple kilometers.
Yeah.
And I know Wildlands, the game I was playing, was, like 20 kilometers corner to corner. I did some research on that. Did some of my own research. Trying to skydive from one side to the other. Get naked, but...
Talking about choosing the right decision or the not the right decision. Have you ever played any of those games where that's all you do? Where like I played a couple of the Walking Dead games where
Okay.
that's all you do is it's just story based where it says, what do you say, like how do you respond to this, or do you save this person or do you save that person, and that's like all it is.
Oh, yeah, I did play a game like that, and I can't remember what it's called.
Was it a horror game?
Actually, I'm going to go ahead and say yes, it was a horror game.
I think I might know which one it is.
I'm not sure you do, Max. Oh, man, it was...
Was it like Until Dawn or something?
No.
Oh.
It was like a Cthulhu-based game. You know what Cthulhu is?
No.
You know what H.P. Lovecraft is?
No.
H.P. Lovecraft is a horror author, and he has this sort of universe where there's these gods, I guess you would call them, but they're like giant monsters. They live in a different dimension than we do. Anyways, but they have based several games and things off of his universe. God, what was it called?
Well, someone in the comments will be like, I know what it is.
Man, this guy was like he's like an alcoholic investigator. Yeah, so anybody in the comments, if you
Are you talking about me? No.
this guy named Max Wilson. No, this guy was he was like a World War I vet, and he was an alcoholic, like private investigator, and he goes to this island, and basically tries to solve a murder or something. It is a horror game, actually. I would say it is a horror game. What happened? So anyways, basically this guy is like super bad PTSD, so he's always having these weird episodes. He's always drinking, so that doesn't help. Drinking doesn't help your PTSD episodes, man. But anyways, he goes to this island and he's trying to solve a murder or something, and basically what you find out is like this one of these Cthulhu monsters. Like it was like an island that did like whaling. They catch whales, but they caught this giant extraterrestrial monster, and they ate it. And it made everyone like fucking nuts, and they were like part of a cult, and it was really weird. What was it called? I don't know what it was called, but but like yeah, it was decision based. Like every like now and then you have a decision that would like turn you one way or the other, and the ending would be different. Yeah, depending on which way you went.
Yeah, yeah, those are fun games. I've been playing it. Well, I'm sure you've heard the Silent Hill series, right?
Silent Hill. So, yes, I've heard of Silent Hill. What's it? Remind me what it is about.
So it's just about like this. It's just about this city that draws like mentally ill people.
It's different than The Hills Have Eyes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, it's different.
Yeah, no, it's like I don't know. Every game is different. Every game has a different story, but for some reason, it always is like someone with mentally ill issues is like attracted to this like city for some reason. Like it's almost like a demonic city.
Okay.
Like a nightmare city, basically. I don't know. It's really weird. Like so, the first game, you're a father who loses his daughter. Like he got in a car wreck in Silent Hill, and his daughter just runs away. And then he's got to find his daughter, you know?
Okay.
Well, it turns out his daughter is like, I don't know the whole story, but his daughter is like a part of some cult in the city or something. Something weird, I don't know. And then the second game is about a man who receives a letter from his dead wife that's saying, "Hey, I'm in Silent Hill, come meet me." He's like, "Okay." Jeez. Not a good idea. And then no.
Okay.
And then the third game is the daughter from the first game that ran away, you know.
Okay.
She gets called back to the city and has to deal with that whole shit again. I don't know. It just has something to do with the city's all fucked up, you know.
Are there like monsters involved or anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's monsters and stuff.
I feel like I maybe watched like a review of that game. But I've never played the game.
Well, what's fun about it, and this is where I was getting at, is that the games have multiple endings.
Oh, okay.
Like, each game at least has like 4 different endings. So like the replay value is really well because you can, you know, replay the game to try to get a certain ending, and yeah, it's fun. And every game has what's called a UFO ending, kind of like a joke ending.
Okay.
Where the game will end on like an anime, like cartoon, like comic almost, like where it's like it was the aliens. It's like really stupid.
Okay.
but kind of funny. And then I remember in the second game there was a joke ending where if you get a key from like a doghouse, and then at the very end of the game you walk into a certain room with the, like, you unlock a door with a certain key. It's his dog that's like in this this huge control room, like playing an elaborate joke. He's like, "Hey," he's like, "It was you this whole time." It's so dumb.
Is his dog in a control room?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
His dog acting like his dead wife. So dumb.
That's pretty funny.
But yeah, I don't know. I like multiple ending games, though.
I also like multiple ending games. I would say, depending on the game.
Yeah.
Also, depending on how many endings you can have, because I know that Wildlands has 2 endings, but they're not very different. They're like,
oh, okay.
Like in one, you like kill the cartel boss, and one you like make him an informant. It's like,
oh, that's dumb.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
Is it that big of a difference?
Yeah, no, like I said, like the Silent Hill endings were they were all completely different. You'd have what's called the good ending, it's a good ending, and then you'd have like the bad ending, and then you'd have like the good plus ending, which is like the best ending, and then you'd have like the bad plus ending, which is like the worst ending.
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of like, I don't know, it was kind of fun. And then you'd have those off-the-wall endings that just were just like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like the UFO endings are so funny.
Yeah, I like the multiple endings thing, but like, they definitely have to be different.
Yeah.
They can't be like slightly different. I'm like, well, I'm not going to replay the game to see it a little bit different.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's fun.
They kind of had, I guess it wasn't a different ending, but a different storyline. Like, you ever played Deus Ex?
No, that sounds familiar.
It's a futuristic game, and you're like an augmented human. And you're part of like, I mean, I don't even know if I'm right about this, but you're part of like a federal investigative thing. And like, you can sort of control the ending and like how some outcomes come by like if you replay the game, you can like get things like ahead of the curve, I guess. It was fun to do.
All right,
Yeah.
Jensen.
All right, Max, let me ask you a question, man. Do you
All right.
you read books at all?
I read I don't read like fiction books.
You don't read fiction books?
No, I read like I've read some. Honestly, I think the only like 2 recent books I can think of is reading American Sniper and Lone Survivor. Yeah.
Okay. Those are both good books.
Yeah. Or actually, I take that back. I did listen to. I freaking keep switching the wrong camera. I did listen to a few audiobooks.
Really?
Yeah.
Which ones?
I listened to book. Do you know who Scott Adams is?
Scott Adams. Is it an author?
Well, he had a book.
Okay, well.
Both. Well, yeah, he's an author, but he also did he does the Dilbert comics.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. But anyways, he has a book. What was it called? Oh gosh, I forgot what his book was called. It was called something like how to fail at everything but still win, or something like that. It was an interesting book. Like
I bet.
yeah, it was kind of funny because he just kind of talks about how he failed his way into success, basically.
Well, man, I'll tell you what, he's not alone. Definitely, I mean, you talk about Winston Churchill. Mm-hmm. Winston Churchill, according to what I've read, I did not know the man. With that caveat out there, I did not know him. But according to what I've read, he failed his way into, success, in which he was part of like the Parliament in England and whatever, and he basically failed at everything he did except for World War II, which he like knocked out of the park because he did really good.
That was like understatement of the century there.
Yeah, he basically like failed upwards until he was the prime minister, and then like killed it when it came to World War II. So, I mean, he's not the only one.
Yeah. No, it was interesting because the funniest part of that whole book was so he's like a cartoonist,
Yeah.
He draws the comics and stuff. And at one point, he had like these people go like, "Hey, can you speak at our university?" And he's like, and in the back of his mind, he's going like, I'm not a speaker. Like, I've never fucking spoken before.
Yeah.
So he charged them like an outrageous amount of money. He's like, yeah, I'll speak for you for like 50 grand. Like thinking,
what?
Yeah, something like just insane. Like they're not gonna take it. And they go, okay. He goes, oh. So then he did a speech. And he's like, wasn't that good? And then the next university, he's like, hey, can you speak? He goes, they kept upping it, because he didn't want to do. He didn't like to public speak, so
Yeah.
he kept upping the charge, and they kept paying for it. So
I mean, that's a win-win. That's a win-win in my opinion.
It's like, fuck this. I don't want to do this. Keep charging. And he's like, God damn it. They keep bringing me.
I mean, all right, good for him. All right, he's doing good. At least he's getting paid for. All right.
Yeah, it was like the funniest thing though.
That is really funny. I did not hear that. No, that is funny. No, but I was out at having lunch with Doug from the gym, Doug Hansen. Working for a city of CUNA. Anyways,
does he read books?
He does not read books.
Oh.
And I think that's funny because I was talking to him, and like I feel like it's a majority of who I talk to don't read books. And I looked it up online, and it's like if you read one book a month, so it's 12 books a year, you're like in the top 1% of like people in the world who.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
Yeah, I need to. Honestly, I'm not a reader, but I really do need to listen to more audiobooks because it's easy.
It is.
I mean, it's freaking easy to do. It costs money, but.
No.
Another book I listened to was called, what was it called? The Coddling of the American Mind. Have you heard of that one?
I have not.
Oh, that was a good book. It was basically a professor that talked about how, basically, why our generation is so offended by everything.
So offended by everything? Okay. Now I want to know the answer because I'm curious about that as well. Is it a simple answer?
Yeah, kind of, actually.
Okay.
So he says that the generation that grew up, that was born in like the late 90s, early 2000s,
okay,
they grew up in what was called the, what did he call it? That generation, like the current generation, the newest one, they're a part of what's called the snowplow parents generation, where like the parents would just like the parents didn't want their kids to adventure out. Like basically like the kids are not allowed to leave the house without.
And they're called the snowplow parents. I mean,
yeah, I think like they just like.
Okay.
Clear the way for their kid. Like, I think that's the right term. I'm not sure, but basically he was making the case that before the 2000s, parents for the most part would let their kids go out and play and adventure out on their own. But like when the 2000s hit, there was this big paranoia of your kids getting kidnapped and like so. Kids for the most part would just stay at home all the time, do nothing but watch SpongeBob,
play video games,
and stuff.
Yeah,
and then it just like they're mentally just soft, like they don't understand any conflict.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see that definitely happening.
Yeah, because I mean, when I grew up, I grew up in the '90s, and we would go, we would go everywhere,
Yeah, I think I was a little more sheltered than you were growing up, but I definitely was able to do stuff. And then also, I grew up playing football, which I feel like,
that'll get you hard.
You get you used to criticism, I guess.
Well, yeah, you're getting plowed,
getting plowed, I guess you could say that. I wouldn't put it that way, but all right, yeah. Getting plowed on the football field. Like I feel like football got me ready for when I got out of high school. Then I went to go work at FedEx Express and work at the airport, and it's just a tougher environment. You're just part of a blue collar workforce.
Yeah.
And then after that, I went to the Army, and then each stage I felt like for me was progressing me into a rougher environment, and so it just happens. It's just something that you need. I mean,
the book was really interesting. Because he talks about how the colleges really started changing around 2013, 2014. That was when people were getting offended over costumes, and that's when it really started happening. And it's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah,
it puts some of the blame on the professors and the universities themselves. Like they should have been better. They should have been better off just saying, hey, go shut the fuck up.
I mean,
you know?
Yeah, I definitely.
Instead, they caved into it, and it just got worse. You know?
Well, I mean that's sort of my. I guess I've never been a college student, really. I guess sort of, but not really. Never really been a college student, but it really. Well, the problem is, I think you should go. It's all hypothetical.
Yeah.
It's all like.
It's all your feelings.
Yeah. It's all how. This would be great if this was how it is, but it's not.
Yeah.
Or, maybe we could do better, but then,
sometimes it's just humans are humans. Like, you can't change
it's human nature. You're never it's never gonna be perfect. And
yeah.
People are always gonna be. There's always gonna be people out there with idiot opinions
or just
dickheads.
Yeah,
people. There's plenty of stupid people in the world. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, you can't. And that was one of the problems that I had with when I worked in news. Was I noticed every single time we were hiring a younger and younger employee, they were getting more. It seemed like they were getting more and more soft, and more like just weaker and weaker and weaker. I'm just like, Jesus Christ! I'm gonna breathe on this guy, and he's gonna break a bone, and I'm gonna be in HR. Like, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Certainly, if you would like to go to college and you'd like to, hypothesize about how you could make the world a gender-neutral utopia, you can do that if you want to. But when you go to the workforce, when you go into there's some inherently rough environments that you're going to go into that need people to work in them, and you can't be, afraid of people hurting your feelings. It's just nothing you can do. Nothing you can do.
I know, it's ridiculous. I remember. I think it was about a year ago. We had, because I work at the plastics manufacturer.
Yeah.
And you're working in a manufacturer. It was like working with big equipment, like working with mainly dudes. They don't have any time to waste time.
Yeah.
It's just like, just get the fucking job done, and that's all asked for. Anyways, we hired this one young guy, and he was gone within a week because, one of our coworkers was saying strong language. and of course, my father goes, well, we don't hire pussies. But it's true. It's like, come on, man. You're really going to, it's like, you got offended because someone used some words you don't like?
Yeah.
Like, give me a break.
It was funny. Since I've been out of the military, I've gone to some counseling, get some over some maybe emotional problems, whatever. But my counselor was like, she's like, you ever cry in those scenarios? And I was like, no.
Never cry. If someone's mean to you?
Yeah, and I was like, never cry. Sometimes I lose my shit and go apeshit on somebody because they're a moron. And she's like, well, all right, that seems like maybe it was warranted in that situation. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Sometimes those guys need to get fucking yelled at because they're idiots. I had this one, we were setting up this range. We were taping off these certain areas people could sleep. Because sometimes people get run over because people driving can't see them. Anyways, we were taping off these woods, and this guy was like, can I borrow your pocket knife? And I was like, yeah, here you go. And he fucking stuck into a tree and left it there. And just walked 100 yards to where we were. And I was like, where's my knife? And he's like, I left it in a tree back there. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? You left it in a tree? Bring it back to me. What are you doing? This is crazy that you thought it was a good idea to stick it in a tree and then leave it there and then walk away. Anyways, what was he thinking? I have no idea. Why was that a good idea? No idea.
But the question is, did you go to your HR department?
There's no HR department. There's no HR department in the military. Not even close.
Oh my gosh, dude. That bugged me, man. I don't know. The place I worked at, I had a few HR meetings about my social media posts.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Really? You did? What
was,
were they upset about?
Oh, they were pissed. Ironically, they fucking called me into the HR department on 4th of July to talk about my controversial social media postings. And I'm like, what?
What did you post?
You know, the political stuff. Yeah, some political stuff, and then I just thought, man, that's so ironic. Like they told me to shut up on 4th of July. I'm like, fuck this place.
You want to your freedom of speech and go shove it, Max, on the 4th
Oh
of July.
my god, I was so fucking livid.
I don't understand. I did that one time with my ex-wife. She got mad at me because I posted, I got shared. I didn't post it. It was already on Facebook. I already shared it, and it was like a quote from the movie Ants or Bug's Life or something. Where it was like they're like, oh, you know, they're like if all the other ants figure out that, you know, we have all this food here, they're gonna come like take it. It's like 100 to 1. It's about control. It's not about what's right.
Yeah.
And she got super mad at me. She's like,
really?
What is this? Liberals against Republicans? And I was I'm like, no, it's about I was like, no.
Like just common sense?
Yeah, I'm like, it's about the government being in control of all this shit, and they can't let us figure it out because we outnumber them 100 to 1 or whatever.
Yeah, that's the problem I had over at the station I worked at. It was getting to that point where it was just like I couldn't say anything because it just, I don't know what happened. I hate to call out the whole liberal group, but they're so sensitive. They take everything just out of context, and you're just like, first of all, this has nothing to do with politics. It's like, second of all, it's a joke.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no jokes anymore. There's no lightheartedness. It's literally us versus them, and that's not a good way to go about it.
Mm-mm.
And especially the fact that if free speech, First Amendment, you can say what you want, all right? And they can say what they want. But the moment you try to shut the person down over what your opinion is,
well, yeah,
everyone can have an opinion, and
yeah.
it's not violence to have an opinion.
And the thing that cracks me up is sometimes they're not even opinions; they're just jokes.
Yeah,
they're just flat out just it's supposed to be laughed at. It's not supposed to be
it's not
taken literally.
It's not a serious political stance at all.
Yeah, like me posting a video of a fat guy falling over has nothing to do with conservatives and liberals. It's just literally just a fat guy looking like an idiot falling over. Just laugh at it.
Yeah.
It's funny. He falls over and he farts. It's funny.
Yeah. I had the same thing. I saw this video, and it was this lady, this big lady, falling down some stairs, and there was people on the stairs, and she fell over them, and it was that Wii bowling thing where you get a strike.
Oh, yeah.
And I was laughing at that. People were like, "This is not cool," and I'm like, "Come on, it's just funny, all right? Who cares? It's just funny."
I know someone out there is gonna be like, "Oh, the depiction of this is racist and fat phobic," and you're like, "Oh, shut up."
Yeah, man, that's how it's gonna go. I mean, I'm white, so everything I do is pretty much racist, I guess. I'm not sure how it goes, but
yeah, it's well, I remember one of my previous coworkers, who I'm not friends with anymore on Facebook, because he drove me nuts during 2020. But what was it? I remember one time we were at work, and one of the anchors I worked with, he always wore cowboy boots. I don't know. He just wears cowboy boots.
Okay.
And this
anchor is a bit racist to me.
No, this anchor is liberal. This is the funny thing. He's liberal.
Okay.
And this younger coworker is all like, he's like, "You realize it's racist to wear cowboy boots?" And this anchor laughed at me. He's like, what are you talking about? He goes, "Only racists wear cowboy boots." And
really?
we're like, he's like, "What?" And kind of laughed it off, and the whole newsroom was kind of laughing, but he wasn't laughing. This guy was fucking serious, and we're like, "Wow, what a fucking idiot."
Jeez, cowboy boots are racist? Like, it's just like
Yeah.
a shoe you wear. I don't even know how that's... Whatever. It's funny.
Like, everyone laughed at him, but what disturbed me was he was not laughing. Like, this guy was goddamn serious. It's like, what the fuck?
Those damn cowboy boots, man, are racist as hell.
Now he's trying to work with Disney, and you're like, well, no wonder Disney's going to shit.
Yeah, I have heard that. They've already been stripped of their, like, tax breaks over
in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. They're weird. Did you ever see the preview for that Buzz Lightyear movie?
I've not seen a preview or the movie itself. I've just heard about the Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, well, you saw Top Gun, right?
I did see Top Gun. Yeah.
Oh, okay, maybe you missed it. Well, anyways, they had the preview of the new, like, Toy Story, like, Buzz Lightyear movie, and it just didn't look good.
I didn't see it, but I did hear a lot of...
Like, there's just a lot of diversity quotas. You know, like, really? Like, this... Like, you guys are... Like, this isn't a preview of a movie. This is a preview of, like, diversity. It's kind of like...
I think that's the problem. Is that they're trying to make it too much about diversity and,
Yeah.
like, not enough about the story.
Yeah, you're like...
Did you see Maverick Top Gun?
Yeah, I did.
What'd you think about it?
I thought it was good.
I was not a fan.
You didn't like it?
I don't like it, no.
I liked it because it had a simple story, simple mission,
Okay.
and
All right.
good ending.
All right, good ending. Oh, okay. All right, well, I would disagree with that. It had a very complex mission that was unnecessarily complex. That's how I feel about it. Okay.
I guess, I mean, it was, okay, it was complex, but it was simple, but it was complex.
I mean, so here's the thing. Is like, I'm not sure what they were going for. Because they're like, hey, we're going to have these guys, like, fly super fast to this little, like, ravine and then, like, blow up this thing. Hey, why couldn't they drop a bunch of, like... So, the whole storyline was like, oh, you have no GPS in this valley. Why can't you drop a bunch of, like, dumb bombs? Like, they don't need GPS. Just drop a bunch of bombs in this valley. A...
I mean, honestly, if
Max.
we're getting really honest here,
Mhm.
you could have just dropped a small nuke
Yeah,
where
You
the
could've.
nuke was, and then just blown them up.
you could have. Now, my other point here is they were, like, flying through this ravine because, like, had, like, AA, like, anti-aircraft guns. Why couldn't you blow up the anti-aircraft guns?
Oh my gosh.
Okay? Because they already sent a bunch of missiles to blow up an airbase.
You blew my mind.
Send some more missiles to blow up these anti-aircraft guns so you don't have to worry about them. Right? They're already blowing stuff up. Why don't you blow up some more stuff?
That you just blew my mind.
I'm just saying, it just seems unnecessarily difficult for them to fly this crazy ravine and, like, do a reverse G dive into this valley. Like, what are you doing? It could have been a lot simpler, in my opinion. I'm not a fighter pilot, but I'm just saying.
God damn it, Jensen, you ruined the movie for me.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
You're making too much sense, man. You're making too much
It
sense.
just seemed unnecessarily complicated in my military opinion, having been in the Army.
Which isn't the Air Force.
Which is not the Air Force. I did not fly fighter pilots or do anything with planes, but it just seemed like they could have simplified it a lot by not doing what they did. That's all I'm saying. But, it seemed like to me that what they really wanted to do was, like, stroke that nostalgia they had from the first Top Gun. And then have Tom Cruise do a bunch of bullshit that he did in the first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it.
That's what they wanted to do.
I liked it. I thought it had a good... I liked it. I liked the ending. That's the part where it's like... It's all about the ending, man. You gotta have a good ending.
Okay, where they have, like, they fly back and they
happy ending. Happy ending.
It's all about the happy ending? All right, Max. I'm
Happy ending.
I'm going to take your word for it. Never had one, but, Whatever you say, man.
Happy ending.
It definitely was a feel-good... I'll call it a feel-good ending, not a happy ending. Because that's just not right. But that's my problem with movies nowadays. Is like they all have like a really predictable storyline, and there's a fun ending, and like there was some cool stuff in the middle, and that's it.
I like that.
I mean,
like okay. So have you seen like the Rocky series?
I have seen the Rocky series.
Oh,
yeah.
dude, I love it. It's so predictable, but the ending makes you feel so good. You're like, fuck yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's always like the pinnacle. You're like, fuck yeah, he did it. But you got to watch the whole movie to build it up.
I mean,
you know?
I guess so. So I watch a show it's an older show. It's called Blue Bloods. You ever heard of it? Okay, it's about a bunch of NYPD cops, essentially, in New York. I watch that show because it's I actually don't know why I watch it, but it's fun. I like to watch the show, but like it's predictable as fuck.
Yeah.
What happens? They have a family dinner every Sunday night, and the good guys get the bad guys, and that's how the show goes. There you go. But like, there's just I don't know, man. You ever see like Law Abiding Citizen? You seen the movie?
No.
Okay. Max, you gotta watch Law Abiding Citizen.
Is it a good movie?
That is a great movie. Okay.
Like, I don't mind. Look, I'm not saying every movie has to have like a happy dappy ending.
No.
What I'm saying is it seems like there's just been too many movies that have just they didn't have a bad ending. The ending just it's like the movies didn't even have any ending. It's like, is there gonna be a sequel, or is what happened here? And then you're just like, I didn't even know what the fuck the whole movie was even about.
Yeah. So
there's too many. I think there's too many of those movies.
There are.
Like, it's just, it was refreshing to see a movie that had a beginning, middle, and end, and it was just like a good movie.
I mean,
like, not complex, simple. And I get there's times for complex and mysterious endings here and there, but I feel like
like nowadays, like especially with the Marvel movies, like they have like the cookie cutter movie every time. Like there's the good guys, there's the bad guys, and the good guys win every time. Okay, and there aren't enough like I don't know. I don't want to use the word gritty. You seen the Joker movie?
Are you talking about the Joker, like kind of like the Dark movie?
Yeah,
the
what's his name? Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, where it's like the actual Joker.
Yeah,
like it's just about the Joker. Yeah.
Now, like I would say, that's a movie to watch. If you haven't seen it,
I saw it.
You did see it?
Yeah.
That's like a gritty movie. Like,
it was interesting.
Yeah,
it was an interesting movie.
Yeah,
it wasn't. I would say it was not like it was not like your typical Marvel movie. Like, it wasn't like the typical hero villain. Like, it actually felt like somewhat of a real movie.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say, Joker. I would say Joker. You gotta watch Law Abiding Citizen, man. Anyone listening to this, that's a good-ass movie. Max, you gotta watch a movie.
All right, I'll watch it.
That movie, and then the movie Hostels. You seen the movie Hostels?
Hostels? No, I don't think so.
Christian Bale is the main character. That is a movie about, in my opinion, that's about human suffering.
Wait, is this like one of those torture movies?
Nope.
Or no, I'm thinking of a different movie.
It is a movie about these, like, it's 1800s or something. Like, there's like these, it's like the cavalry versus like the Indians sort of movie. And this guy who's a cavalry captain has to escort like this Indian chief back to his native land or something. I think it's a good movie in my opinion, but it's also a tough movie to watch. It's just really gritty and real.
You know, it's a really tough movie to watch because it just brought me up to a good movie. Have you ever seen the movie Midnight Express?
Midnight Express. Explain it to me.
Oh, dude, it's a good movie. It's an old movie. It's from the 1970s.
Okay.
But it's about this American who gets caught smuggling drugs out of Turkey. and
Okay.
he gets thrown into a Turkish prison, and so they sentence him to like 1 year in prison, right?
Okay.
And he's like, okay, whatever. So like the 1 year comes up, and then the judge goes, nah, we're gonna sentence you to 30 years in prison, and he's like, what the fuck?
Oof.
Yeah, like what? Like that's my whole life basically. So he basically, I don't know. The movie's kind of actually really depressing. Like it's like they constantly are like torturing the guy, like just like brutal film. But at the very end, he like manages to escape the prison, and it's a true story.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
he escapes the prison. He flees to another country, and then gets back to America, and like and he got free. But it's a true story.
Wow.
He basically, at the very end, he got in a fight with one of the guards and kills him, and got his keys, changed into his outfit, and just walked out.
Jeez, man.
It's intense.
Yeah, it sounds like
It's a good movie.
that sounds like a good movie. What's it called?
Midnight Express.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, there's two ways to watch it, because you can watch it where there's no subtitles, where like you can't understand what the Turkish people are saying.
Is it like a foreign film or something? Or?
Well, no, it's foreign. The main character is American,
Okay.
but he's in Turkey, so like he's dealing with people that speak,
Turkish.
Turkish.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, there's two ways to watch it, where like you can watch it with the subtitles or without the subtitles. But either way, it's like a good movie, because you're like it puts you in the shoes of like, oh man, this is what it must feel like if you get prosecuted in like a foreign nation. You're like, fuck, like this sucks.
So that movie has some relevance today with what Brittany Griner, or the WNBA player who is sentenced in Russia.
Yeah, she probably is going through the same exact thing. Like,
jeez, that's
dude, it's scary. Like when you watch that movie, you're like, holy cow, like, because his lawyer speaks English, you know.
okay. Yeah.
So he translates what like the judge is saying, and he's like, so fucked up. He's all like, the lawyer's all like, oh, don't worry, you only got a year in prison. That's a pretty good sentence, you know. And then the year comes up. He's like, all right, we're gonna get you out. And then the judge is all like, nope, you're getting 30 years. He's like, oh, well, you're going to get 30 years. He's like, what? He's like, don't worry, this is actually a really good deal. You're like, what the fuck?
Jeez,
like,
man.
fuck you. Like, what a shitty lawyer.
Dude, that sounds really shitty. All right, get 30. Okay, yeah. Jeez.
It's like so fucked up.
That is fucked up, man.
Yeah, it's a good movie, though. Yeah, I don't... It was one, and there's multiple points in the movie where like they tried to escape but they failed. So it's like your heart is pounding the whole time. You're like, oh man, they're gonna get caught, or you know, you're like, oh shit.
Sounds kind of like Papillon. Like, have you seen the movie?
No.
Okay, it's like a prison escape movie as well. Or what's it called? The Count of Monte Cristo, something like that. They have another escape.
Yeah, it's those. It's kind of like, if you think about it, it's kind of like a thriller, almost a thriller movie, you know?
Oh yeah.
Because, yeah, I don't know, your heart gets pumping because you're like, oh man, like this guy's fucking escaping prison, man.
I watched the movie recently. That sounds a lot, somewhat. Well, okay, not somewhat. It's somewhat like that. Called The Running Man. You ever seen the movie?
Is that with Arnold?
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah.
It's been years since I've seen it.
Okay.
I think I know what you're talking about. Is that the one where he's like in a game show?
Yeah. So he's like,
Yeah.
It's like it's like it's funny because it's like a dystopia.
Yeah.
But it's set in 2017.
What?
I watched it like two nights ago.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like, they're like, it's 2017, the whole world's collapsing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
all right, it's 2022, the world's just fine. So
They didn't predict that Trump would be president.
no, they did not. But they got, but yeah, he's like it's like a police officer, and he like refuses to like fire a bunch of missiles into like a crowd of civilians, to like arrest his ass, and send him to like a work camp, and he escapes. and like him and his buddies escape, and they get back to like everything's like dystopia, like in San Francisco or something. I don't remember what it is, but anyways, they send him to like. It's like the Hunger Games, essentially.
Yeah.
They like send him in. There's like a bunch of like people who are like trying to kill him, and he ends up killing them.
Yeah, I remember the most memorable part of that movie was when he was fighting that hockey player.
Oh
right?
yeah, that's Sub-Zero.
Yeah, that's the one that I remember the most.
Yeah, and he ends up like killing them, and then like they're like going nuts trying to like find more people to kill him, and then he like hooks up like his like the satellite feed to like the rebels, and the rebels like project to what really happened, and they're like, oh my god, and then it's I think it's so funny. I watched it because I watched the movie years and years ago, and then I watched it again like
such a cheesy movie, but I remember. Yeah,
it is super cheesy.
I watched a really cheesy one recently. Not with Arnold, but with Stallone.
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 Yeah. Rocky.
Yeah, it was. What was the movie called? Oh my god.
Demolition Man.
Not that one, but it was Judge something. I don't know.
Oh, Judge Dredd.
Yeah. God, that movie was terrible.
Yeah,
but it was so bad. I like had to keep watching it. I was like, "What's gonna happen at the end?" I'm just like, "This is such a terrible, dumb, cheesy movie," but I have to keep watching it.
Yeah, no, they made a Judge Dredd with Stallone, and then like I think years later they made a new Judge Dredd or Dredd, I think it's just called, where it's like I think it's a new remake, but
it's such a. Dude, the outfit that he was wearing was just ridiculous.
Those old
like,
sci-fi movies are just comical.
And like the motorcycle he was riding on, it was like just like this big bulk. You're like, what the? Who would ride that shit?
I don't know, man. Those old movies are just nuts. Like, what the hell was going on back then? I have no idea.
I know. I don't know. I mean, it is kind of fun to watch sometimes, just kind of like laugh at.
I definitely like saw that with the first RoboCop movie.
Yeah.
Where I was like, man, this movie is like really bad.
but it's kind of good at the same time.
It is kind of good. I do enjoy those movies, but definitely they're not good movies. If you're going to compare them to nowadays,
no, they're
graphics,
not.
No, definitely not.
No, my favorite movie of all time, though, when it comes to sci-fi movies is, have you ever seen Starship Troopers?
Oh, I have not.
Oh my god.
I know the movie you're talking about.
Oh my god, you gotta watch it. It is, dude, you would love that movie because it is so awesome because it just, the way they make like their propaganda films and like joining the army and like fighting the bugs. And
is that the one where like the little kid is like, I joined too?
Yeah, he's like, I'm doing my part too. It's so, oh my gosh, it's so great. It has like 90s written all over it.
Oh my god.
It just has that over the top, like, but it's it's unapologetic about it. It's like the over the top, like futuristic shit that they did in the 80s, but they're just throwing it in your face, like it's like on purpose. It's dude, it is so funny. That movie's a classic.
I'll tell you what, I was looking at this chart online of like old sci-fi movies. So there's old sci-fi movies that are like they set them in like these present day times.
Uh-huh.
The one I was looking at recently was like called Soylent Green.
Oh yeah.
Do you hear about that?
Oh yeah, I saw a little bit of it.
It's set
the very end. I saw the ending.
It's set in 2022, so right now. But like in the movie,
you know what it's about, right?
I mean, yeah, I know what it's about. I know what it's about.
I saw that. The only part that I've seen was the ending of the movie because it was on TV, and my parents were like, "Oh, you got to watch this part," and it shows like the factory with the food, and
like
stuff,
like the bodies going,
the bodies,
the food coming
and he's
out.
all like. He's like, Silent Green are people, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's funny. I watched I was like, oh man, because they were like, it's 2022 and overpopulation's going crazy, and I'm like, I don't think so, but all right. And they're like making people into food, and I was like, oh god.
What's sad about it is you watch those old dystopian movies, and back then everyone like kind of laughed at it, but then today you're like, well, have you read the headlines? Like people are like acting like we're headed towards those times.
Well, yeah, what's it called? I mean, California has like their like only electric cars by 2035.
Yeah.
And then they have like the headlines like, don't plug in your electric cars, it's straight in
They don't have the power grid.
And I'm like,
their power grid can't support it.
I'm like, you can't even support the cars you have now. Like, now you're gonna add like 100 million more.
What's even more crazy that people aren't talking about is that California is actually outlawing all small engines next year.
Small engines?
Yeah, so landscapers and like farmers, they all have to start using electric next year.
Well, like lawnmowers? Or?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, they're all they don't know it, because we went to that big freaking trade show in California,
yeah.
right? And a lot of the farmers are just like, fuck it, like they're all gonna break the law next year. They don't know what to do.
Yeah,
they're like this is unsustainable. Like you can't fucking sustain it. Like they're just all going to just not follow the law.
Also, I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. They're gonna be like,
like that's like saying you can't drink water next year. I don't know. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's an issue that no one even knows about right now, is the small engine thing. But yeah, it sounds to me that people just aren't even going to follow it.
Well, I mean, it sounds like they think that it's going to help them, but it's really like it sounds like they're trying to sink that state as fast as they possibly can.
Oh yeah, it could happen next year. I mean, that's why I laughed at like when they announced that they're gonna outlaw cars in 10 years. I'm like, dude, that doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Because no one's talking about what's gonna happen next year.
Yeah.
Like, their experiments already going to fail next year because no one's going to follow the fucking law.
Yeah.
Like, it's dumb.
Yeah.
You can't. They're gonna try to ban small engines, and it's not gonna succeed.
Yeah.
So how are you gonna ban cars? For God's sakes.
It's funny because you're gonna have like they're gonna ban small engines. Everyone's gonna be like, why can't this person come mow my lawn? They're like,
yeah.
Oh, maybe we gotta walk this back a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Oh well, I had to charge my 50 batteries to mow 2 lawns.
Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna do that. I saw this video online where someone was talking about how like if the U.S. went to all electric cars, it would add like 50 times the strain on the electric grid. And they're like, what are you gonna do about it? They're like, well, we're gonna make it better. They're like, well, how?
Yeah, you're gonna need more coal. You're gonna need more nuclear plants. You're gonna need. I mean, nuclear. You're probably gonna need nothing but nuclear.
Yeah. Nuclear
to do that. Yeah,
you're not gonna have solar. I'm not gonna have wind.
No,
to do
that's
it.
not. No. I understand that there is one thing I understand about solar. Like, how people have solar on their homes.
Yeah.
There is a point to having solar, and that's if the grid goes out, then you can still have power.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, what's it called?
It's not. I don't think it's necessarily green energy, but I would put it in the category of being off the grid.
Yeah. Well.
What
so this is what I've seen is like what Tesla's doing. They have like the power wall or whatever, like the big batteries they have in people's houses where they like can take in solar energy and store it in this battery pack, and then whatever is left over they can sell back to the electric companies. That has some merit in my opinion because now you have this battery at your house that you can use if you need it.
Yeah. And
everything else goes to the power companies, but like if you just have like you're reliant on you have to have sunlight to have power, like
and that's where it's headed where you have a mixture of solar panels and battery.
Yeah.
Where you're storing the energy, for a rainy day or whatever.
Especially I would use Idaho as an example. Like we have like those inversions, like those clouds.
Oh yeah, you're screwed.
A month. Like what are you gonna do? Nothing. Nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
You can't make the sun come out.
Yeah.
In that instance, so having that battery pack is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I hate how our society right now is just all one thing. It's like, no, it could be a mixture of everything. Like, it doesn't have to be all one thing, you know?
Yeah,
it's just frustrating.
That is frustrating, and that's the problem. I think it's more of an agenda than it is a actual way to help us. Because, like, having an electric car is good if all of that power is, green. But right now, I think a lot of it isn't.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing was I was listening to one of Joe Rogan's podcasts where he was talking about, well, one of his guests was saying that the thing that people don't talk about is to make the batteries for electric cars, you had to destroy a bunch of land.
Yeah.
Like, you had to mine a shitload of land to make, like, batteries. So he's like, in the long run, if you're trying to replace all gasoline cars, you're probably going to destroy more of the earth than you are just mining fucking oil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have heard that. From what I see on the internet, is that, like, to offset the emissions of a gas car, like, you have to use an electric car for, like, 3 years before you start offsetting the emissions. Because, the lithium batteries and the mining and all that stuff causes tons of emissions. Plus, those battery packs don't last forever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're going to have to replace them at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a finite amount of those rare earth materials that you can actually use.
Yeah, it's not as easy as people think. I don't know. I was laughing because I saw this really funny video on Twitter where I think that it was a guy. It was in a different nation. I think it was like Australia or something. And he was using one of those. He was using an electric excavator, or I don't know, machinery. It was battery powered. And he's like, I don't know how to speak the language. Anyway, their accent. I'm not gonna try. Okay. But anyways, he's like it's like this excavator only lasted like 3 hours. And he's like, and we're charging it right now. And then he walks to the end of the building, and no joke, there's this gasoline generator that's like half the size of this room that's like running full speed to charge this battery. And everyone's going, what?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point?
Yeah, that is definitely in my opinion, like a huge problem. What is gas like? Yeah, you're charging your electric car, but where's the energy coming from? It coming from coal? Coming from Another thing is is the electricity coming from like a different continent? Like, is it China? Is it Russia? Is it Ukraine? Yeah. Their emissions are way worse than ours are.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, man.
And then you get into the self-driving cars, you're like, not a chance.
Yeah, I think good luck with the self-driving cars. I am going to drive myself from now on, but anyone that wants to use the self-driving cars, go for it, man.
Did you hear how they're like the electric cars that people have been complaining that they're too silent? So now they're like putting in artificial engine noises
to make it. Oh my gosh!
Like there's noises coming out of the speakers to make it sound like you're driving.
That is so stupid, man. Why would you do that? Why on earth would you have the fake engine noise? Wouldn't you enjoy it being silent?
Okay, this is going to be really random.
All right.
But are you one of those people who puts the shopping cart away or leaves the shopping cart in the middle of the parking lot?
Oof. I put the shopping cart away, man.
You do?
I do.
Do you get annoyed by people who leave their shopping cart out in the middle?
I do, yeah. I feel like it's made convenient enough. They're like, oh, walk like 5 feet or like 50 feet. I'm like, come on, man, just walk a little bit extra and put it away. Right?
I guess.
What do you do?
I'm about neutral on the thing. Yeah. Like, I would say, yeah, if it's close by, yeah. But if it's like 800 meters away. Fuck that shit.
Okay, if it's a half-mile away max, I won't put it away either. But I feel like in this modern age, like, they are close enough where you can walk.
That's fair enough.
You can walk. Like, I've never been to a place where I'm like, man, that's how far away it is. I'm like, oh, it's just a little bit down here. Just a little bit.
So there is this. The reason why I asked you that question was there is this guy that I found on Twitter who literally, he wears a GoPro and he just harasses people when they don't put their cart away.
Okay, what? I would never go and harass people about it, you know. All right, if you don't want to do it, I'm not going to be like a dick and be like, "What? You're not going to put it away?" No, it's fine. Whatever.
Dude,
you know what?
I'm mixed on it because it's honestly, it's some of the most entertaining videos because these people get so fucking pissed off at this guy, like almost trying to like some of these people call cops on him because they're like, "Stop harassing me about the cart, the shopping cart. Stop harassing me," or or they're like, "Stop, like get away from me, I feel threatened." All because the guy's like, "Why didn't you put your cart away?" I'm mixed on it because I'm like, okay, dude, you're being a real ass here, but at the same time, I don't know, the guy could just put the cart away.
I mean, all right. In this day and age, yeah. I mean, if you want to make a video about people not putting their carts away, whatever, I don't care. But like, it's not worth my time to go argue with somebody. Like whatever store it is,
Yeah.
they have somebody. They're paying someone to get carts.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I think it's douchey. I'm like, really? But like, really, who cares? Like,
well, the guy's argument is that the carts roll away, or they carts will roll, and they'll damage other people's cars, and then the store is held reliable.
Okay. Well, okay, that is a legitimate argument, but like I
know.
I've seen that happen like once.
I know.
And so I've been to store thousands of times, and I've seen it happen like once or twice. So it's like, is that really that big of a deal? I'm like, also like, Walmart, maybe they can afford to go to the court with people. I have no idea, but if I saw a cart like rolling towards a car, I'd stop it.
Yeah.
But I rarely see that happen. Like, ever. I've seen it once or twice. So I'm like, you know what? I'm like, you should put your cart away, but I don't care enough to like confront you and be like, what are you doing over here?
It's a really random thing to bring up, but I found this guy on Twitter, and it just like, at first I was like pissed off at this guy. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this guy has no life. Like, he's just harassing people about not putting their carts away. But then after a while, it like grew on me. I'm like, well, I mean, is it really that hard to put the cart away?
The answer is no. It's not that hard to put the cart away, but like,
I don't know. It's kind of an interesting topic.
I mean, I've never done that. I've never not put a cart away, but I have had situations where I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not doing it. Never been a cart, but it's been other things. I don't know, man. Honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, really, who cares?
Yeah. It just, I don't know. It blows me away that that's even a thing. Like,
yeah.
I mean, his videos get like tens of thousands of views. It's bizarre. It's weird.
Maybe I start harassing people with their carts and make some money.
There's your new job, Jensen.
Harass people with their carts. Hey, put that cart away, ma'am.
That's literally what he does. He does this stupid little like he walks up. He does this stupid little like wee 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 wee. He's like, you didn't put your cart away. He's like, what is this? And then the guy just like, the people in the car always freak out like, shut the fuck up, leave me alone. Like, ah. And what he does is he throws like a magnetic like bumper sticker on their car, and that's what makes them freak out.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, dude, I'm like, you should just count your lucky stars and just stop now, because you almost got killed these few times.
Yeah, you know what? I think I won't be doing that. I might get my ass kicked over a cart, so no, it's not worth it at all. No, I don't know, man.
I'm not gonna lie though, it is pretty entertaining to watch.
I mean, I've never seen it. I'll take your word for it because it's one of those things where it's like, why can't you put the card away?
Yeah.
But also, like, do I really care that you don't put the card away?
Exactly.
That's a pretty big gray area there, man. Like, it is easy enough, yes, but you didn't. But I don't care enough to do anything about it.
It's like the same argument with, do you leave the toilet seat up or do you leave the toilet seat down? You're like,
all right, well, you know what, Max? I will comment on that. I haven't been married. Put it down. Okay?
I don't get it. What's the problem? I don't get it.
I don't know, man. You know what? They want it
down. It's a woman thing.
It is a woman thing, you know? Like, if... I can't...
Are they afraid that dust is going to get into the toilet bowl?
Dude,
it makes no sense.
It's not that. It's just like, I can't even explain it really, but they want the toilet seat down. I think it's the effort involved. They, like, want you to actually put it down for them, I guess. I'm not 100% sure, but... Honestly, I've been trained like for life.
See, here's my philosophy.
All right, all right, let's listen.
I prefer it up.
Okay.
Because when I walk in, I don't want any surprises by accident. I don't want to be like, oh, look at this cute little toilet seat, and I open it up and go, oh my God, someone forgot to flush.
All right.
I would just like to know right out the bat, going, all right, we're with the clean toilet.
So I think what it is more so is like the lid, like because it's like on most of us there's like 2 layers, right? Mm-hmm. There's like the thing that you sit on, and there's like the thing that you cover.
Okay, that makes sense.
So they want like the thing you sit on to be down.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So they want.
That makes sense.
So I'll tell you what though, I've been trained for life, man. Like even in public places, I'll put the seat down.
That makes sense.
So
I guess I never really thought about that because they have to they sit down every time.
So it's just a thing that women like, and
whereas me, it's like a convenience thing. I'm like, I don't need to sit down all the time. It's like fuck that shit.
Here's the thing, Max. You're a bachelor. You were a bachelor. Do what you want, okay?
Yeah. I gotcha. Yeah.
Whatever makes life easier for people involved. You should do. If you're married, put the seat down. If you're not, do whatever you want.
There you go.
If you're homeless, you don't have to worry about it. So it's just how it goes, man.
Maybe okay. Then here's our next. Here's our next plan. Okay, we wait in public restrooms and go. You didn't put the seat down? No.
I think wearing a GoPro in the public bathroom.
I think that's highly illegal.
Yeah, it might be a big problem. But Max, you know what? You should do what you want.
Get arrested after the first episode.
It's not gonna pay for your bail, man. That's all I'm saying. Also, if it's a guy's room, you shouldn't worry about it. Maybe if it's unisex, but even then, you can't even go in there. So don't do that.
That'd be fucked up.
It would be. You shouldn't do it, Max. I'm just gonna say right now, on the record, Max, you should not go into a unisex bathroom with a camera. It's not gonna end well.
Yeah, that's no good. I was talking about those bathrooms. Me and Eddie went to a brewery on Saturday after we went mountain biking,
Okay.
And I was like, oh man, I had to like destroy the bathroom. So I go in, and it had one of those automatic lights.
Okay.
And as I'm taking a shit, the light just turns off. I'm like, fuck. Has that ever happened to you?
Okay, so it has happened to me, but not in the context of a bathroom.
A what?
Yeah, it's a weird story. So in the Army, they have this thing called CQ. It's called Charge of Quarters, where you basically like babysit a barracks building for 24 hours, which means you sit in a desk and you check in visitors and whatnot and make sure no one's being a dickhead and whatever. Anyways, but I have had times where I was sitting and so still, like the lights just turned off. Like stand up and get to like wave my arms, get the lights turned back on. Wasn't even going to the bathroom, just sitting there doing nothing.
It's scary. I remember at the station I worked at.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a public bathroom, like men's and women's.
Okay.
Where it was like they had urinals and stuff, and so but they had like they installed the automatic lights in there, so it would get freaky because you go in there and you'd have to take a number 2. You're sitting there minding your own business, and all of a sudden the light just turns off. You're like, I feel like I'm in a horror movie. Like I'm alone in this massive bathroom, just like with the lights out. I'm like, will someone please walk in?
What, you couldn't be like waving your arms around or anything? You couldn't do anything like that?
I don't think that did anything.
Okay. I had a similar experience. I'll be like sitting like at the barracks building. It's pretty long, 100 yards or whatever, and I'd be like sitting there at one end, and like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., whatever, and like the lights at the other end would like turn off because there's no motion.
Oh,
and then
man.
like the lights closer would turn off, and I'm like, man, there's someone like gonna kill me.
It's
The
like a
lights
horror movie.
are just shutting off in sequence, and this person's gonna fucking murder me while
I
I'm over
hate
here.
it. Oh, that's fucking scary, dude.
You're so tired that you're like, all right, I'll just die. It's fine. I'm so tired.
Fuck that. Stupid automatic lights.
I think it's funny. I had this one team leader. He would.
It's even more funny when you're in the dark and you're just taking a shit and just farting, and it's just like black everywhere.
Black. Okay, I'm gonna have to take your word for it, Max. I don't think I've ever been in that situation before. I'm all about efficiency, so I'm not about sitting too long. Well, okay, it depends.
So you fart efficiently, or I mean, you take shits efficiently.
Even in public, in public, yes. At my house, that's a different story. But there's no motion sensors at my house, so it's fine.
Oh man. Yeah, it's interesting. Talking about bathrooms.
Bathrooms, yeah? What about bathrooms?
I have another bathroom story.
Okay, let's hear it, man.
So, I went and saw a Def Leppard. I went to a Def Leppard concert.
Okay. When was this? They're still around?
Oh, long ago.
Oh,
this
okay,
was
a long time ago. Okay.
Yeah, this was probably like 6 years ago.
All right.
Or something. Anyways, we got the luckiest seats because the bar was just right there.
Those are always lucky
Yeah.
seats, all right?
I got fucking smashed.
I'm not surprised, Max.
Wasted. Anyways, the great concert. The one thing I do remember was that the women's line to the bathroom was so long that women just started going into the men's bathroom. And,
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and all the guys were like, "Hell yeah, man!"
I'll tell you what. I had a similar situation. I was in a country, not to be named, on the air, but we were. Oh God. Okay, we were in a country doing something super vague. And on the way back to where we were staying, we were on this big old bus, and I was super hammered, and I had to pee so bad, so full of alcohol. And we get to this stop, like this gas station, and the line for the men's room was super long because it's all guys. We're in the military; it's all guys. It's like 2 women, and so I'm waiting in line for like 15 minutes, and I'm like, I have to pee. So, like, I was gonna pee my pants. I was sorry, I peed so bad. I look over, nobody in the women's room, so I run into the women's room, and I pee, and I come back out, and like I open the door, and there's like a lady and her young daughter like waiting to go in. I was like, oh God! So I was like, all right, like cover my face. I was like, it's open. And I ran out to the bus. I felt so bad. I was like, oh man. Just like there's nobody going to the women's room, and I was like, man,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take advantage of this. There's no one going.
It's weird because that does happen, like at events where some like the genders get flip flopped, where it's like one gender is hogging up their bathroom and the other one's not, and you're like, I don't know. Honestly,
In that situation, like I was in the bathroom and they were outside.
as long as you're in like a urine, like in like a private area, does it really matter? You know, I don't know. That's I don't know.
It definitely wasn't my proudest moment, but like I said, they were outside. Like they weren't even in the bathroom with me. But like I opened it and I was like, oh, sorry, and like ran out.
Yeah, that's such a weird topic because I don't know. It's so weird how. I think there's a.
That's why they gotta have like all those like 50 urinals. They're
Yeah,
all singles, man. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think there's a. Well, I think people can agree that like when you're in a huge like event, and one gender bathroom is just overwhelmed, and the other one isn't.
Yeah.
It's probably understandable that. Well, yeah, you should be able to use the other one.
Well,
but
yeah. I mean,
I don't know. It's like one of those weird. I don't know.
I think in my opinion, it comes into common sense.
Yeah.
But that
then,
but that rarely prevails in those situations.
Yeah.
People like get upset.
Yeah. People.
And I'm like. But you know there is like that fear of like predators or people doing things they shouldn't do.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah.
Unfortunately, so I can understand.
Well, that's where the whole transgender thing, you know, like yeah. That's like a whole different argument, I think.
So it definitely is. Well, it's more of a gray area than anything black and white. You can pull up. So
just like leaving the toilet seat up.
Yeah.
Leaving it down.
Yeah.
Putting the shopping cart back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, man, 50 porta potties. They're all singles, man. You don't have to worry about anybody going in anybody else's line.
Well, that's what everyone's saying is just do one big ass massive bathroom and that's it.
I mean, I guess you could say,
or you have a bunch of just single bathrooms.
bunch of singles, because that's what you have porta potties, a bunch of single bathrms.
Yeah, there you go.
Although I would say it's hot, really fucking hot in some of those.
What a freaking first world problem, huh?
I mean, yeah, that's true. I have taken enough shits on the side of like a hill in the Army where I was like, all right.
That's when you know when we're living in the first world, when we can't even agree on fucking bathrooms.
Yep. I mean, yeah, you're right. I definitely had times in the Army where I was like going out to dig a hole in the ground and shitting in it. Where it's like, all right. I remember I was in basic training, this guy from New York, named Vinny. And it was like 4 in the morning, like it's dark out, I'm tired. And he goes, hey man, I'm going to take a shit. And I was like, all right. And like a minute later he comes back and he's like, all right, I'm done. I was like, what do you mean you're done? He's like, yeah, take a hole, take a shit, I'm done. I was like, oh, all right. That's efficient. Can't even pull that off back at base like one of those bathrooms.
Well, they do say.
All right, what do they say?
They do say that squatting is actually the natural way to take a shit. Did you ever hear about that?
I have seen online.
I mean, did you see the poop stand thing?
I've heard of the argument online, but I'm not a doctor. I don't know any of the particulars. I mean, I've been using a toilet my whole life, and it just works out. So I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows? You know, there's the whole saying that when you sit, it's pinching off your rectum or whatever. But when you squat, you just let it loose. See, there might be something to this because I always have to hold in my farts when I'm squatting.
Oh my gosh! All right, Max. All right. I'll tell you what, man. I'm not sure, and I'll tell you what. In this day and age, with the amount of information, quote unquote information, that's put out, I have no idea what to believe in any situation.
What I believe is you put 155 pounds
oh my God,
barbell on my back. Yeah. I do a squat.
Okay.
Dude, the shit's coming out like crazy.
I didn't need to know that, but...
I'm just kidding.
I don't know, man. I'll tell you what. Logically, it could make some sense, but I don't know. Like I have no idea. You know, I'm looking at there's a million influencers who tell you all these different things about stuff. If I'm listening to Liver King, he's probably like, yeah, That's the ancestral way to take a shit.
I wonder if he does squat shits.
Dude, there you go. That's something to look at.
He must.
He must.
It's the Liver King.
Right? I mean, I have no idea what he's doing for taking a shit, but, he's drinking blood and taking a shit, I guess. I have no idea. He's squatting down. He's sleeping on a bed of wood or something. I have no idea what he's doing right now, but you should ask.
Making fires with his bare hands.
He's making fires. He's carrying a big backpack or something. I guess that's what he's doing.
He's doing, he's doing women. That's an ancestral.
He's doing his wife, I guess.
Yeah, that's ancestral, if I say so myself.
Yeah, Liver King, I'm not sure, but I think doing just one woman is not an ancestral lifestyle, just saying.
Yeah, he's got to be doing a lot more than that.
Yeah, well, so I don't know. I have no idea, but maybe the squat shit's the way to go. I don't know.
We'll never know because there's not a squat. There's not a squat bathroom.
I mean, there's not. In Asia, there is. And in China, my parents went to China, and there's squatty potties.
Is that what they're called?
Oh yeah, it's in the ground. You just squat over it.
Huh.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I wasn't there, so I'm not 100%. I can't tell you 100% sure that it's true because I wasn't there, but that's what they told me.
That sounds more like a Japanese thing.
I mean, they went to China, man. I have no idea what the Japanese are doing. Something with octopuses or something. I have absolutely no idea. I have no idea.
Oh man, freaking Chinese.
Yeah, man. I don't know what they're doing over there.
Well, Chinese, they're making our iPhones.
They are making our iPhones, yeah.
Yeah. That's about it.
That's about it. They're making iPhones, and they're making rice, and tall buildings. Other than that, I'm not sure what they're doing. Making smog, I guess. I have no idea.
I honestly don't know either.
You ever been to China?
No, I've
not been to China either. I've been east. I've been to Europe, not China.
My aunt's been to China.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it sounded actually very intimidating and scary.
In what way?
Because it is a communist nation.
Yeah, I mean...
she basically said it was kind of like a soft version of, North Korea. They're really strict.
Why a soft version? Why a hard version of the U.S.?
What do you mean?
Okay, well, I mean, you get the U.S. here, right? Then you got North Korea here. And then I guess, based on your description, China's in the middle.
No, a soft North Korea.
Yeah, so North Korea's here, so a soft North Korea's here, right?
Well, no, what I mean by that, what I mean by that...
Why not a hard version of
No,
the US?
what I mean by that was they're just a very strict nation. And this was before the pandemic. This was, they would get very upset if you had something on you. And it's like, what?
What do you mean had something on you?
I don't know. If... I don't know.
But
It just... The way that she described it was... It just was very... Just... uneasy.
Okay.
They're always watching you, you know?
Okay, well, I mean,
Yeah.
All right.
You're not free, basically.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. Not necessarily like North Korea, because North Korea is worse, you know?
Okay.
You say the wrong fucking thing, and then you're in prison for the rest of your life.
That's how I roll over
Yeah.
there, man.
Not like that, but it was kind of like constantly just kind of no, you're not supposed to do this. Don't do this. No, constant warnings, you know,
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
it didn't sound fun to me.
No, that's not fun to you, but
No. I mean, she said the Great Wall was great, but...
the Great Wall was great. Can you see it from space? That's what I want to know.
The Great Wall was great, man.
You can see the Great Wall of China from space if you bring a picture of it into space with you.
That's fake.
God. Didn't even get the joke.
The Earth is flat, dude.
The Earth is not flat.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, you know what? I saw a video online, and it just burned me inside. You don't want to know why? Because it was like clickbait. Because the title was, "The Earth is not round." Okay, that was the title. And then I watched the video, and they were like, "Hey, guess what? The Earth isn't a perfect sphere." And I was like, "Okay, all right. All right. Okay, I'm gonna let you stop laughing."
I remember you talking to me. I remember you saying this to me.
And I was like, okay. I was like, that's fair. The Earth isn't perfectly round. Like, isn't a perfect sphere. It's not symmetrical, but it's still round. You can't say the Earth isn't round and then be like, well, guess what? It isn't a perfect circle. It's like a slightly misformed circle. I was like, you can't say that, all right? You can't put that clickbait out there. Oh, the Earth isn't round. Oh, actually, it is round.
You were expecting a flat Earth.
I was, because they were like, guess what? It's not round. It's slightly less not round. And I'm like, all right, that's just you guys being assholes.
It's all like, "Grr."
And it was like here's the Earth, and it was like, ooh, like it was just slightly different. They're like, it's round, but it's not a sphere. And I was like, well, you can't put "it's not round" in the title and then be like, well, it's not a sphere. Yeah, it just I was like, okay, all right, whatever. I'll tell you what, man, I've watched a bunch of flat Earth videos, and I love watching those videos. I'm like,
those videos are so funny.
I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about, man? I brought this 2-foot level onto an airplane, and it proved the Earth wasn't flat because
I saw this one guy. I swear to God, I couldn't tell if it was a parody or not. But so he had a globe, right, of the Earth.
Yeah.
And he had an airplane like this.
Yeah. Yeah, drink that last bit there, Max.
He had an airplane like this. He's like, okay. So if the airplane flies around the Earth, he goes like this. He goes, he's like, the airplane should technically be upside down if it traveled around the Earth. He's like, when you travel the whole Earth, is your plane upside down? He's like, I don't think so. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was funny. I watched this video, and it was like this guy took a level. It was like a 2-foot level, and he's like, watch, before the Earth is flat, but it's on the airplane, and if it's not like tilted forward the whole time, like the Earth is flat. And I was like, okay, first of all, the plane is flat. It's not going to bend around the Earth. Also, the plane's a bit smaller. It's going to fly in a straight line. I was like, whatever. All right.
Did you see the... there was a documentary on Netflix about the flat earthers.
Yeah.
Did you see that one?
I'm not sure I've seen that one, but...
Oh my gosh. The ending was so funny because the guy... This flat earther was like, I'm going to prove that the Earth is flat. So his experiment was he made like this laser that would go like 2 miles or something, you know. He's like, in theory, if the world is round, this laser will miss the mark 2 miles out because it the Earth curves, you know. And so throughout the documentary, they're showing this guy making this laser, doing all investing all of his money doing this thing, setting it up and stuff, and then they talk about the flat Earth theory and building it all up, and at the very end he does his experiment. He's like calls his bud. He's like, did it make the mark? And he's like, it didn't. He's like, it didn't make the mark? He's like, no, it's about 5 inches above from where the hole is. He's like, oh, well, that's weird. And then the documentary just ends. It was like the funniest fucking thing. Like he just proved himself wrong.
Yeah, I do love those. I saw another like documentary where this guy's like, they're like, oh, we bought like this $50,000 gyroscope. He's like, if it doesn't move every like a 15 degrees every hour, it's false. And they're like, well, it actually does move 15 degrees. Like, fuck. They're like, well, that's not good for us. And I'm like, oh, you guys are, what are you guys doing over there, man? You're debunking yourselves.
That's what's so funny about it. They keep doing it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so great.
I've seen a lot of conspiracy theory videos, and all of them like have some evidence, but like the flat earthers are like, we didn't know, we know it's true, and I'm like, where's your evidence? Like,
even after they've like debunked it themselves,
yeah,
they're like convinced.
Well, we don't have any evidence, so we know it's true, and I'm like, oh, you guys
like,
are a bunch of
well, that experiment failed, but we know it's true.
Yeah, I'm like, you guys are. I'm like, all right.
It's like at some point, I mean, I'd have more respect for them if they just finally just said, okay, we did the experiment, it didn't work, we're wrong, you know?
Yeah. You know, or they can still think that, but they can't be like, you know, we got experiments to prove it, and then they like debunk themselves. Like, you just say it was not a good experiment, all right? You can't use facts to like screw yourself and then be like, no, it's true. No, that's not how it goes. You can't do that.
Yeah, there's some, I don't know, there's some crazy conspiracies. Well, it's kind of sad, though, because of the whole, too much censorship has destroyed that fun, because I like listening to the lunatics.
You like listening to lunatics?
Yeah. Because they're idiots. They're funny.
I mean, all right, Max, if you want to listen to lunatics, you can. I like to listen to regular people, but who have different points of view, but they've also been censored. So.
Yeah, that's true. Damn, dude, it's almost been 3 hours.
Has it really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
2:58.
You know what?
Well,
wait, 2 hours and 58 minutes?
Yeah.
It's more than 3 hours.
No, it's 3 hours. Almost 3 hours.
You know what? We did good over here. All I'm saying.
All right, dude. Well, probably end it here.
All right.
And then, yeah. So sweet.
And Max,
good luck tomorrow.
You too, man.
On the workout.
Yeah. We'll see if I even go.
What? All right, dude.